I climb up off the cold white tiles with a sharp pain throbbing through my brain, and as I straighten up, rows of text flash through my vision. A system has been loaded into my head, telling me I have obtained a shelter, Doomsday Apartment Room 304, that a Doomsday Survival Novice gift pack has been deposited with me, that my talent ability has been drawn and is the D-Class Personnel Simulator, that I should check the system interface for further details, and that Doomsday Survival is officially commencing. What the hell is this? I think my thoughts a complete jumble, and I sort through the chaos as I open the system interface that seems to be wired directly into my consciousness. There are only 4 blocks in the interface: personal information, shelter information, trade, and communication, and I check them one by one with my mind, like turning the pages of a strange unbidden book. My personal information lists my name as a myope, my gender is male, my age is 24, my talent ability is the D-Class Personnel Simulator, and my remarks as none. And when I click into the talent ability, the description tells me that I can randomly simulate 1 D-Class personnel currently on a mission once per day, with a helpful little remark: why would anyone want to go look for death? Huh. I say to no one in particular, and then I open the shelter information, which lists my shelter level as elementary. My status is absolute safety for 7 days, and a remark telling me to please upgrade my shelter level within 7 days. So how do I upgrade it? I complain out loud: you should at least write down the upgrade requirements. The trade area already has several pages of trades cycling through it, but every single one is some pathetic exchange of trash for food and drink, not a single serious offer in the lot. The most active part of the interface, by far, is the communication block, divided into 3 sections: world, region, and friends. Messages can't actually be left in world even though there are over 10 billion people in there, so it stays eerily quiet, and I have no friends yet, so the friends section is empty too. Region shows 999,997 out of 1 million, and the chatter rolls past me in waves. How did 3 people die? Weren't the shelters supposed to be absolutely safe? They must have gone out on their own. There are weird things outside. I'm in an apartment. Where is this? Ha 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 ha. I've awakened a system from now on. I'm not eating beef. Idiot, everyone has a system. There are monsters outside, everyone don't go out. Bullshit, I've read these kinds of novels. Now is the golden time to find resources. Oh boy, another dozen or so just died. Idiot, if it weren't dangerous outside, they wouldn't have given you an absolutely safe shelter. Seems true, luckily I didn't go out. Damn, so you didn't go out. Is Lee Hong-wee there? I'm your dad? Do you all have talent abilities? As more and more people wake up, the information thickens until I have to slow the flow of it just to read at a comfortable pace. Most of the chat is just missing person notices, but very few people seem to know anyone in the same region as them, and I can't tell how the system filters the assignments. The whole region of 1 million people seems to be packed into one area. The shelters can't be far apart because I can hear noises through the walls from neighboring rooms, and there are strange footsteps in the hallway. Through the peephole, I can only see a portion of empty corridor, and outside the window, thick white mist is floating, with massive shadows passing occasionally through the fog. I open the Doomsday Survival Novice gift pack and find a 500 milliliters bottle of mineral water, a 1-pound bag of toast, and a kitchen knife with a 30-centimeter blade. The entire endowment of my new life. The shelter is only about 30 square meters. The door opens onto a sink and a stove. Opposite the sink is the bathroom with a flush toilet and a shower. The bedroom is divided off by a sliding door, and inside there is only a desk, a bed, and a window connecting me to the outside world. That is the shelter in its entirety. I turn the faucet, and nothing comes out. There isn't a drop of water in the bathroom either. The supply has clearly been cut off for a long time. The stove has no natural gas, the outlets carry no electricity, and while it'll be fine during the day, at night I'll probably have to rely on the system interface for illumination. Though since the interface is wired into my consciousness, I'm not even sure it'll light up the real world at all. What should I do, I think? With just this bit of food, I won't last more than a few days. I don't want to go outside to explore, because so far I haven't seen anyone in the region group return alive. And although there are quite a few voices in chat insisting there are good things outside and encouraging others to go scout, I haven't seen a single screenshot of the outside world to back any of it up. Lewd photos, on the other hand, are flooding through privately like nothing has changed. The region count slips to 999,845 out of 1 million, over 100 dead in less than 10 minutes. And even if there really are resources outside, I'm not planning on venturing out myself. Then I can only try the talent ability, I tell myself, scratching at my hair. Looking at the description, I always feel this isn't some serious talent ability at all, more like a suspicious recruitment ad. And amid the smooth buzzing rumble of a vehicle moving down a road, I wake up wearing an orange prison uniform, with 4 other prisoners in the back of the prison van dressed exactly the same. In the front half of the vehicle, sealed off behind a safety net, sit 4 fully armed security personnel. Damn it, I knew this would happen, I complain in my head. I've been sitting on the bed in my shelter, and the moment I activated the talent ability I was here. And the most terrifying thing of all is that the body I'm wearing isn't mine. It's the body of a robust white youth named Kenneth, with a system note that I have 10 remaining simulation attempts. What does 10 times even mean, I roar internally? Does the simulation just end after 10? Or do I actually die after 10? This ghost talent really is unreliable. I have no idea what D-class personnel are supposed to do, and I only have 10 chances for trial and error. Don't be nervous, the guy beside me says, patting my thigh and telling me being nervous is useless anyway, which is just about the worst comfort I've ever heard, and I push his hand off and ask what we're going to do. I know nothing, I can only risk being suspected by asking. Then I suddenly realize the language they're speaking isn't anything I should be familiar with, and yet I'm able to follow it perfectly, as if a translation software has been wedged into my brain. Who knows? The guy says. Even those guys outside with guns don't know what we're going to do, otherwise they wouldn't need us to scout the way for them. And he sighs and closes his eyes as if accepting his fate. I don't ask anything else. These companions clearly know about as much as I do. Not long after, the prison van stops outside a villa. The supervisors and D-class personnel get out in sequence, and the supervisor captain is a tall black man. Number 1, he calls. A D-class personnel steps forward, gets fitted with a communication helmet rigged for surveillance, and is sent into the villa alone. Several supervisors monitor the feed through laptop computers. 5 minutes pass before the captain says, "Number 2, and another nervous D-class personnel, his legs trembling visibly, also dons a helmet and disappears inside. A few more minutes go by, and number 3 is called, the guy beside me, and then with no warning at all, my vision blurs, and I am back in the prison van again to the buzzing of the wheels on asphalt, sitting next to the same guy who just walked into the villa. Remaining simulations, 9. I sigh deeply and ruffle my hair hard. I died once just now, apparently, and I didn't notice a thing. This is troublesome. The 2 who entered earlier are probably dead, but waiting outside isn't safe either. I can only go in and see what's going on." Just like the last simulation, Patient 1 and Patient 2 enter the villa in sequence, but this time when the captain calls Patient 3, I take a step forward, saying I can't take it anymore. Can I go in first? The captain glances at me, says nothing, and gestures for his team members to fit me with a helmet. "Can you give me a weapon for self-defense?" I ask. "You also hope I can last longer, right?" I'm hoping for a pistol. I've never used one, but firing a gun isn't difficult. But a team member silently pulls a dagger from his belt and hands it to me. I take it reluctantly. I know they wouldn't give me a gun, but there's no harm in trying. The villa has 2 floors. The entrance opens into a high domed hall. One side has a staircase leading up, and the hall connects out to several corridors. I move slowly along the wall, observing by moonlight. The helmet has a headlamp, but I don't dare turn it on. In deep night, a light would just make me a live target. "Go check the second corridor on the right." The captain's voice crackles in my earpiece. "Don't get close to the first corridor." Did he talk to the other D-class personnel before? A small doubt rises in my mind, but I don't disobey because I have nowhere better to go. As I pass the first corridor, I instinctively glance inside, and at the end of it hangs an orange object. My pupils contract. For the first time in my life, I feel that having too good eyesight isn't a good thing, because my D-class companion is hanging there, dissected and reassembled like building blocks. He maintains a humanoid shape, but on closer inspection has none of the features of a human, hung up like a piece of avant-garde art, and only the conspicuous fragments of orange prison uniform let me identify him at all. Holy crap. I'm startled. I take an unconscious step back, and behind me, where there should have been an empty hall, my back touches something. I spring sideways like I've been scalded, but my body doesn't obey, and at the last instant I see my own shattered body, and then the deafening sound of a violently beating heart fills the world again. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The prison van resumes around me. Even across the chasm of time, even knowing the thing back there can't pursue me, I cannot calm down. My body is intact again, moving freely, but in less than half an hour I'll have to face the thing that can dismember a body at a whim. Remaining simulations, 8. Damn, this is really... What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Still 8 times, what happens after that? Will I go back, or... An intense fear locks down my chest, and I can't sort my jumbled thoughts. I slap my own head hard and force myself to breathe. The first floor is very dangerous. There's a monster that can dismember people. The 2 who went in earlier have already been dismembered. Should I go directly to the second floor? No. Going in first might mean meeting the dismembering thing. 8 simulations left. I can try going to the second floor first. And if that doesn't work, I'll go in first. The prison van quickly stops in front of the villa for the 3rd time. And entering the villa for the 3rd time, I am already prepared to die. This time I'm still the 3rd to enter, and as before, the captain tells me to check the second corridor on the right, but I disobey and rush toward the staircase. As I'd guessed, the dismembering thing is active on the 1st floor, and I'm not harmed until I reach the 2nd floor living room. The staircase faces directly onto the living room. One wall is a row of floor-to-ceiling glass, and on the coffee table at the center sits a striking dark box. Although it's deeper than the night around it, it is somehow impossible to ignore. The lid slides horizontally and has been pushed 3/4 open, with only a quarter still covering the box. Unconsciously, I walk to the table. The box is an arm's-length cube, completely dark inside. Impossible to see what's within. Completely open the box, the captain's voice says into my ear, and your mission will be complete. Afterwards, you can shed your D-class identity and freely choose to leave or join the organization. I instinctively raise my hand, but a sense of incongruity stops me. Open the box. The first time I was outside, but I died suddenly. Quickly open the box. The captain didn't speak when patient 1 and 2 were exploring. Open the box, and all suffering will end, and you will receive your deserved reward. Can it really end? I slowly withdraw my right hand and turn my head. Outside the French windows, 4 pairs of eyes are staring at me. The captain and 3 team members, all impaled on black pillars, smiling as they watch me. In the distance, more black pillars are rising from the ground, all with people impaled on them. Number 4, open the box. The captain's emotionless voice insists. I don't hesitate. I turn and start to close it instead. The lid is so cold it reminds me of biting tap water in winter. And as I push it, I feel the heat in my body emptying out. Before I have pushed it halfway, I can't feel my body any longer. Some vital component of me is being completely consumed, and not long after I lose consciousness entirely. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I wake from the nightmare again, the familiar guy beside me. Remaining simulations, 7. I sigh, and I think that if I could close that strange box, the simulation would end, but I can't close it on my own. The box was already 3/4 open. Was it opened by the 2 who went in before? No. The box was probably open first, causing the anomaly, which is why we were sent here in the first place. Closing the box requires some kind of energy. So what about opening it? Does opening it also require some kind of energy? Did those 2 D-class personnel and the captain passively provide the energy to open it? So if I went in first, would I be able to close it easily? Soon the prison van stops in front of the villa again. I don't waste words this time. I step forward and let the team member fit me with a helmet. No one objects. This is a suicide mission and no one refuses someone going first. The moment I step inside, I see a figure hanging upside down in the center of the hall, opening its eyes, blood-red pupils glowing faintly in the darkness. And the moment my eyes meet it, my body decomposes into small pieces, twists, turns, and reassembles from the center, finally settling into a brand new item. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Remaining simulation attempts, 6. I stare blankly at nothing. There was no actual pain, only a sense of distortion beyond the nervous system clinging to me, and for a long moment I cannot move a finger, until that sense of distortion drains away and I can think normally again. I cannot go in first. Going in first is certain death. I can only try going in second. If that doesn't work either, the prison van stops again. This time I wait for Agent 1 to enter, then step forward and request to enter second. Still no one stops me. I put on my helmet and wait for the captain's command, and a few minutes later he sends me in. This time the shadow is no longer in the center of the first floor hall, but I don't waste time looking around. I rush straight up the stairs. On the second floor, the black box is on the coffee table as before, but now the lid is pushed open less than a quarter. As expected, opening the box consumes life, and those ghastly things must have come out of it. I rush to the coffee table and try to close it. Wait, what are you doing? The captain's voice barks in my earpiece, but I ignore him. This might really be the captain's voice, or it might not, but it doesn't matter. The lid is still icy cold, although the heat isn't draining as quickly this time, and I gradually lose sensation in my body. Worse, something is approaching from behind. No sound, no other sensory cue, just the bare fact of it. My body begins to segment and twist, but fortunately I can barely feel it, and barely manages to push the lid shut. The instant the lid closes, all sensation vanishes. I fall to the ground and stare at the pitch-black ceiling, and consciousness leaves me entirely. Simulation ended, the system tells me. Remaining simulation attempt 6. Obtain 6 random items that appeared in this event. Obtain Deep Abyss box usage right ×1. Obtain title, Savior. I climb out of bed in the shelter and feel no discomfort at all, but when I look around the room, I feel completely unwell, because hanging upside down on the wall like a mural is an orange human reconstruction specimen, brazenly displaying itself. Holy crap, I gasp. You can actually follow me here? My back goes cold, but almost immediately I realize this must be one of the items rewarded to me by the simulator. Besides the mural, the other 5 items are arranged on the floor. A handgun loaded with bullets, a simple ration pack, a simple medical kit, a full set of military combat fatigues, and a dagger. The handgun is a model I've never seen before, with 10 rounds. The ration pack contains 5 energy bars and 2 cans of energy drinks. No ingredient list, no idea what they're made of. The medical kit holds 3 metal syringes labeled emergency treatment and lifesaver, plus a roll of bandages, a bottle of anti-inflammatory medicine, and a bottle of pain relievers. The combat fatigues fit well and are not heavy. The dagger is just an ordinary dagger, but it feels well made. I open the system panel and find 2 prompts inside. One for the Deep Abyss box usage right, and one for the title. Savior, your actions have saved an area, and your deeds have spread within the organization, with a note that unlocking more titles will improve a D-class personnel's treatment. Improved treatment, I scoff. Can't it just promote me to C-class instead? I prefer less challenging work. Deep Abyss box usage right. Can open the Deep Abyss box once without consumption and obtain 1 item from it, with a warning that the box is dangerous. Please do not open casually. This won't give me a monster, will it, I think? But I decide to use it now. The system says the shelter is absolutely safe, and my talent ability comes from the system, so whatever comes out of this box should not be able to break the system's rules. And the absolute safety only lasts 7 days, so it's best to use the box right now while I'm protected. A pitch-black box appears in the center of the shelter, looking exactly as it did in the simulation. The deep abyss box opens automatically, and a flood of bizarre things pours out, filling the entire shelter, and I feel for an instant like I have died countless times in countless ways, with all sorts of strange and grotesque things filling the room. Dangerous information detected in shelter, the system reports. Harmless processing in progress. Processing complete. Please make your choice quickly. Now the shelter looks like the basement out of some movie, filled with eerie items, bright white bottles of unknown material, toy animals covered in unidentified fur, a penguin with a single moving eye, a painting whose contents I cannot identify. Even my own body is covered in butterfly-like creatures, their aqua blue wings trembling slightly, ready to take flight at any moment. For a moment I have no idea how to choose. Every item is peculiar. Even a master appraiser could only take a wild guess. I'm not in a hurry, being anxious is useless, and since I can't understand any of it, I decide to pick something I like. First, I rule out anything that can move. If they can move after being neutralized, what were they like before? And if the neutralization is only temporary and the items recover after 7 days, that's a problem. It's best to choose something controllable. In the end, I pick a set of red cards. The material of the card box itself is unknown, and on the dark red surface is drawn a pale gold ring. Inside the box are 100 cards of unknown material, and no matter how many cards are drawn, the box automatically refills, while the drawn cards automatically disappear. I don't like gambling, but I do like playing cards. I know more than a dozen ways to play poker, which is why I choose this deck. Confirm, the system asks. Confirm, I say. The strange items in the room begin to disappear, including the card box I am holding. Some items are clearly unwilling to leave, but they're forcibly taken back by the system into the deep abyss box, and finally the box itself slowly vanishes, leaving nothing behind. Thorough neutralization in progress. The system reports, processing complete. Obtained abyssal relic card box. Please draw today's card. A card box appears out of thin air in front of me. I reach my hand inside and unconsciously shout out, "It's my turn. Draw." The card feels a bit like the skin of some creature. The back is engraved with complex patterns, and the front depicts a goose-like creature. The card dissipates, and a blood-red creature that looks like a large goose appears in my shelter. I stare at it. It stares at me. Big goose? Honk? Our eyes meet for a long time, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what use this goose has. As if sensing my confusion, the big goose elegantly raises a wing and pulls a steaming bowl of goose-leg rice out of the void, pushing it toward me. Can you conjure up anything else? I ask. Honk honk, no. Can I have another bowl? Honk honk, no. After a long conversation, I confirm that the big goose can only provide 1 serving of goose-leg rice, and refuses to answer anything unrelated to it. Is this what neutralization means? Isn't it a bit too harmless? I silently take a photo of the goose-leg rice and send it to the group, since I'm feeling miserable right now and I refuse to be the only one feeling that way. It is the first time I have spoken in chat. By now the group has quieted significantly. Many people are lurking, silently observing, considering what to do next, with private chats taking the heavier traffic, but my photo blows the lurkers out of hiding. Holy crap, goose-leg rice. My god system. Someone's cheating. Dude, where'd the goose-leg rice come from? Did you go out? It's still hot. Did you make it yourself? Big shot, please let me have a bite of that goose leg, I'm begging you. Hungry, need food. Is it for sale? Name your price. I reply, be jealous. I traded my talent for it, and I'm not lying. My talent obtained the deep abyss box. The box yielded the card box. The card box drew the big goose, and the big goose provided 1 serving of goose-leg rice. Seeing my message, others stop being so envious and start feeling sorry for me. Having a talent that only produces goose-leg rice is a bit too pathetic. What's your talent? Goose-leg talent. Truly terrifying. Impressive. Can you get me a bowl too? Please, big shot, trade for a few more bowls. Many people are still hungry. Has no one made it back alive after going out yet? Are all your talent abilities this hilarious? I tell them I can only get 1 a day, and I don't even know if I can get another 1 tomorrow. I eat my goose-leg rice while scrolling chat. Many people want to add me as a friend, but I don't bother replying. The time spent in the simulator seems to be synchronized with reality, but I have no idea whether my physical body remained in the shelter during the simulation. When I arrived here, I had only the clothes on my back, nothing else, and it seems to be the same for everyone. I finish the goose-leg rice quickly, and outside the window the sky is darkening. Just as I lie down on the bed for a nap, a prompt pops up. Night activities start. Tonight's activity is labyrinth exploration. Join, and a 10-minute countdown ticking down. Are you guys participating in the night activity? Someone in chat asks, and the answers come back. Of course. I can't conjure up goose-leg rice and I don't dare go out. If I don't get food soon, I'll starve. I'll wait and see and join tomorrow. Good luck, everyone. I'm a loser. I'll wait until tomorrow. Good luck. Best wishes. Watching the chat, I'm already organizing my equipment, because I'm definitely participating in this night activity. First, I'm probably among the best equipped of all the survivors. And if even I can't survive, then considering the talent abilities I've seen, at least half of the people participating tonight will die. Second, I haven't found a way to upgrade the shelter yet. Perhaps it's in the night activity, and if I miss this chance, I might fall behind in upgrading. One slow step leads to every step being slow, and I'd be eliminated by the others, so I will not miss this opportunity. After putting on my gear, I sit by the bed watching the countdown in the chat, idly petting the goose. Big Goose rests quietly in my arms, occasionally preening its feathers with its beak. 0001. 0000. I rub my temples and climb up off a dark red floor. I am standing in the middle of a corridor, with doors irregularly arranged on both sides. Both the floor and the doors are dark red. The sharp headache fades and I draw the pistol tucked into my waist. The big goose hasn't been brought along, but my weapons and equipment are all here. The system tells me that for the first 3 days of the night activity, the probability of treasure chests appearing is increased, the probability of ranked creatures appearing is decreased, and the quality of chest drops is improved, and that the first treasure chest opened by a participant is guaranteed to contain a shelter upgrade blueprint. Night activity starts. A 2-hour countdown appears at the bottom of the system panel, and I assume the system will teleport us back to our shelters when it expires. I aim my pistol at the nearest door and knock gently. There is no sound inside. I push it open. The completely enclosed room has no living creatures and no windows. Only a floor full of trash. Empty beverage bottles, scraps of paper, broken stones, a dilapidated table. The bottles and paper are printed with characters I have never seen before but somehow understand, and I pick up some of the trash with text on it and stuff it into my pocket. Among the junk I find a dark red metal coin about the size of a 1 yuan piece but slightly heavier. One side engraved with complex patterns, the other featuring a blood red eye. I pocket the coin and leave. The corridor isn't long, only about 10 meters, but around the corner is another similar corridor whose 2 corners lead in different directions, one to the left and one to the right. I quickly pass several corners, finding more corridors of varying lengths, some ending in forks splitting into different directions. This is an endless labyrinth. If it can accommodate 10 billion people simultaneously, I can't even imagine how complex it must be, though it has little to do with me. I don't need to escape it, only to find some supplies I need in here. Half an hour later, I have explored 9 red rooms, finding only a few red coins, a red key, and some usable sundries. I haven't found the treasure chest mentioned in the system information at all. After exploring a few more rooms, I suddenly find a locked one. The door identical to the others except for an additional red lock that's so close in color to the wood I might have missed it if I weren't checking each room one by one. I knock on the door but there's still no movement inside. This place is a silent ruin. I look at the keyhole, then take out a wire I'd found in a pile of garbage and try to pick the lock. After a minute I still can't open it, so I use the red key which disappears once it works. Inside is the same size as other rooms, but instead of garbage there are shelves, a warehouse, and most of the shelves are empty, but I find a few remaining items. 2 bottles of red liquid in glass, sealed with caps, each about 400 milliliters, a metal pendant that's a silver cross of equal length and width, which can be worn around the neck, and 7 hard cards dark red on one side and engraved with intricate patterns on the other, the 7 cards showing 3 distinct designs in total. I put these items in the backpack I'd salvaged from the garbage earlier, and just as I shoulder it I hear footsteps from the end of the corridor, the opposite direction to the way I came. Fortunately it's quiet enough here that I detect the sound in time, and I gently close the door, leaving only a crack. Soon a figure passes by, a blood-red shriveled corpse, half its head gone, the remaining brain matter dry and somehow still propelling its movement. After it passes I calculate the distance, pull the door open and fire a single shot at what remains of its head. The gunshot echoes through the corridor and the bullet hits true, knocking the blood corpse to the ground. This is my first time firing a gun, yet I find myself extraordinarily familiar with the feeling, as if I had been shooting for years. I suppress the feeling and don't approach. The corpse has already lost half its head, and I'm not sure the other half is the vital spot. At first the corpse doesn't react, but 2 seconds later it begins to convulse violently like a patient in an epileptic seizure. Blood-red fleshy limbs grow from its back, supporting its body like spider legs, and its abdomen splits open, the shriveled flesh and organs bursting forth with new vitality, blossoming into new structures. I fire 3 rapid shots, chest, lower left abdomen, lower right abdomen, each a different part. Because I don't believe this monster has no weakness, I just haven't found it yet. The monster springs from the ground like a frog, bounces off the corridor ceiling, and covers 7 or 8 meters in 2 bursts of force toward me. I take a calm large step backward and empty my magazine into it as it pounces. What's needed at this distance isn't precision, it's firepower. After the magazine runs dry I drop the pistol, dodge the second pounce by anticipating its trajectory, and smoothly draw the dagger from my waist. But the second pounce doesn't arc properly. The monster tumbles, crashes into the end of the corridor, struggles for a while, and then stops moving entirely. Apparently it isn't immune to bullets either. I stand calmly in place, preventing it from playing dead. Throughout the entire encounter I have made no unnecessary movements and shown almost no emotional fluctuation, because compared to the simulator missions, a jumping corpse is still easy to deal with. After a few minutes I approach the corpse. It's lost its human shape entirely, only some scattered parts left to indicate it was ever human-like. I draw my dagger and dissect it, the various tissue structures jumbled and mixed together. At first I'm thinking about how this thing moved, but eventually I give up the question and start studying the strange tissue structures themselves. 10 minutes later I put the dagger away with satisfaction and move on. I find a key ring with 5 identical red keys on the body. These keys seem to be merely credentials for opening doors, with little to do with the locks themselves. After that I no longer open unlocked rooms, since most of them contain only garbage, and even when something turns up it's just 1 or 2 coins, while keys take 9 rooms each on average. I need to find a treasure chest as quickly as possible to learn the upgrade requirements. I move through corridors quickly, twirling the empty pistol as I go. When I fired earlier I was extraordinarily familiar with the gun, as if I'd used one for over a decade, and that's almost certainly the residual experience from simulating Kenneth. I'd never touched a pistol before in my life, so it's the only explanation for such skilled marksmanship. Kenneth was a D-class personnel after all, and there had to be a reason for it. He must have had a few unique skills. Soon I find another locked red room, knock without response, and use a key. The room's structure is identical to the others, but with no garbage. In the center of the room is a redwood box that isn't itself locked. I cautiously pry the lid open with my dagger and quickly retreat. Contrary to what I expect, there are no dangerous items inside, and no blood corpse jumps out either. The chest disappears after being opened, and inside it there are 3 items: a shelter upgrade blueprint, a hard card, and a bottle of red liquid. Do you want to use the shelter upgrade blueprint? The system asks. Use it. Please collect 10 mutated organs from unranked mutated creatures as materials for the shelter upgrade. 0 out of 10. Unranked mutated creatures, mutation organ I think, and I hurry back to the blood corpse I dissected earlier and cut off the most unusual part of it. Submit the mutation organ, the system asks. Yes, the abnormal piece disappears, and the upgrade quest now reads 1 out of 10. So killing 10 blood cores will upgrade the shelter. That's not bad. Though they're difficult to kill, ultimately they're just mutated corpses, and although I was unfamiliar with them before, next time I won't waste so many bullets. Still, dealing with a blood corpse with only a dagger is very dangerous, so I decide to use my talent ability tomorrow to get more bullets before I go looking for trouble with one. After getting the mutation organ, I keep looking for locked rooms. After more than 10 minutes of brisk walking, I find another, and this one still contains a redwood treasure chest, though when I open it, it's filled with bread and mineral water. The contents of the 2 chests are completely different. Perhaps chests come in different types containing different items. I put the food into my secondary backpack. There's still food in the shelter, but in this situation the more reserves the better. After walking a while I encounter a fork in the road that's a bit different from before. A straight corridor without any rooms. Its length stretching out of sight, still dark red. I draw my dagger and advance cautiously. After about 1,000 meters I finally reach the end, where there is a double-leaf door. It wouldn't be a boss behind the door, would it, I think, and push it open. Behind it is a square hall. The door I'm at is on one side. The opposite side has another red double-leaf door. On the left is a mahogany door, and on the right is a dark red metal door with a lock hanging on it. Approaching the wooden door, a prompt asks if I want to leave the red maze early. No, I say. There's no danger right now. Approaching the metal door, I receive another prompt. First contact with a special room. The door automatically unlocks. The lock disappears and the metal door swings open. Inside is an ordinary red room, but unlike the others, in the center stands a dark red platform with a glass bottle on it. The bottle filled with dark red liquid and an eyeball soaking inside. I pick it up and put it into my backpack, then carefully sweep the room again to make sure I haven't missed anything before leaving. Pushing open the double-leaf door opposite, behind it is an identical long corridor. I glance at the timer. 20 minutes left. I had been conserving my stamina in case of monsters, but now I can speed up. I run quickly through corridors, and with 5 minutes left I find another locked room. Inside is still a mahogany box, but this one contains several bottles of red liquid, several hard cards, and a red metal key that is clearly different from the standard red key. It should be a key for opening special rooms. I pack everything in and continue exploring nearby rooms. The countdown is nearly out, no time to find another locked room. Before it ends I find a few red coins in the garbage. Footsteps sound outside the door. But the countdown has already reached 0, and I am back in the shelter. The region count is now 994,759 out of 1 million. Over 2,000 people died in one exploration mission. After entering the red maze, the system's communication function couldn't be used, so the moment the activity ends, a flood of information slams into chat. Holy crap, I'm finally back. I was blocked in a room by a zombie for 2 hours. Damn it, I almost couldn't make it back. Good thing I ran fast. Did you find any treasure chests? I only found some red coins. I opened a box and got 2 bottles of unknown liquid, and the shelter upgrade blueprint. Ah, how do you upgrade the shelter? Can you share the blueprint? The blueprint is one of the upgrade materials. Everyone needs to get a copy of the blueprint to upgrade their level. So many people died, good thing I didn't go. Heh, only in the first 3 days are you guaranteed a blueprint from a chest. And after that the probability of chests appearing also drops. Ah, who knows where to get mutation organs. When chat lessons I post a picture I took with the system earlier of myself cutting out the mutation organ. Goose-leg bro, why aren't you posting goose legs anymore and now you're posting fresh produce pictures? Wait, isn't that a zombie big shot you killed one? Awesome. I don't even dare to go out and the big shot can already kill zombies. What's so hard about killing zombies? Give me a weapon, aim for the head. One shot, one kill. The one upstairs clearly didn't go. Is that the trashy zombie from movies? I usually work out and am considered strong among ordinary people. This damn zombie runs faster than me, is stronger than me, can't die even if its head is smashed, and can even deform. Thousands of people died because they encountered zombies. I was just lucky my talent is good, otherwise I wouldn't have made it back. Exactly. Although I didn't encounter zombies, those who dared to go all had some skills, and so many still died. These zombies must be very difficult. I tell them, everyone hold on, I'll send some relevant information. After I speak, the chat of nearly 1 million people gradually quiets, and not because my words are powerful, but because the information closely concerns their lives, and no one wants to die. I send the information I gathered in the maze in the simplest, most digestible form, so even people who aren't very smart can understand what to do next. And I add the caveat that I think the mutation organ is the vital point of a mutated creature, and I did indeed hit it in the end. But I also fired 10 shots, so the monster might just have died from being worn down by me. And to proceed with caution. Big Shot awesome. Thank you Big Shot for sharing the information. May good people have a peaceful life. Sigh. 10 blood course is too difficult. It feels hard to upgrade. No bro, where did you get a pistol? If I can exchange my talent for goose-leg rice, why can't I exchange my talent for a pistol? What kind of divine talent is this? I also want a talent that can exchange for goose-leg rice. I add to chat that I also got some bread and mineral water. The quantity is limited. If you need it, send me a private message. I'm trading for Red Maze products, highest bidder gets it. And that I don't know the value of those things yet, so they should decide for themselves. Whether to trade. Damn, I'm starving to death here and the big boss already has extra food to trade for things. No, if you have extra food, shouldn't you share it with those in need? Those who can trade with you definitely won't starve. I blacklist them on site. Once blacklisted, neither person can see the other's messages or trades, which is better for both sides. I don't have to see annoying messages. The other doesn't have to envy me. I'm not planning on trading with these kinds of people anyway. Out of sight, out of mind. I didn't post the information out of any Sather complex. I genuinely want to show other survivors a way to live. But I have my own goals too. Fame and fortune have always been inseparable. Once my reputation is established, everything I do afterward will be 3 times easier, or even more, and I don't need to do much. As long as I provide correct information in advance each time, the others will naturally and respectfully call me Goose-leg Bro. I lie on the bed checking private messages, skipping junk, looking for valuable trades. Big Goose lies beside me, its head rubbing my arm, a wing covering me like a blanket. I complete several transactions. The cards and liquids from those treasure chests will definitely be worth more than bread later. And I even feel that those items can only drop after the chest quality is upgraded, while bread and mineral water are normal output for wooden chests. Then in a private message, a survivor named Jangui sends me a piece of blueprint information. Unranked mutation weapon blueprint requires 1 to 5 mutation organs, with a note that more materials don't necessarily mean a stronger weapon. No one with a normal brain would trade a weapon blueprint for a few pieces of bread, and I feel he must have another purpose. What do you want to trade for, I ask. Big boss, it's really hard to contact you. I don't like wasting time. Big boss, we've established an organization called the Mutual Aid Society, full of experts with strong innate abilities. The chairman hopes you can join. I'll pass. Good luck to you all. Big boss, don't rush. With your ability, as long as you join the Mutual Aid Society, you can get at least 1 such blueprint every day. What do I need to give in return? Nothing much. You just need to provide information to the Mutual Aid Society like you did today. Unlike those ingrates in the group, the Mutual Aid Society will naturally reward you. You profit from my information and then give me a cut. You could say that. Have you ever thought that many people might die because of you? It's just normal give and take. Those who don't contribute shouldn't get information. That's the normal situation. You're right, I say. But you won't accept. You're right. I close the chat with Jangui and continue trading. I could do what he describes. I could create a similar organization, but I don't need to. The Mutual Aid Society has something, but its scope is too small. Since it calls itself a Mutual Aid Society, it ought to save all of humanity. That would be more interesting. Temporary gains and losses don't matter. The Mutual Aid Society can't give me what I really need. Elsewhere, in a private exchange I do not see, Jangui reports to his chairman that I refused. What a pity. The chairman replies, his name listed only as Wu Ming. His talent must be some kind of very strong early-stage talent. With his help, the Mutual Aid Society could help more people. Do I need to find a few people to discredit him? Jangui asks. say the information he provided was problematic. Anyway, many people haven't been to the Red Maze. No need, Wu Ming says. We also need him to provide information. Although we'll earn a little less this way, it's still more than what those lone wolves earn. And there's no need for us to offend him now. If something happens right after you send an invitation, anyone can guess it was us. You're right, Zhang Wei agrees. Have the people who went out to explore returned? Wu Ming asks. Most died as soon as they went out, Zhang Wei reports. The lucky ones could last a few more minutes. Do we need to keep looking for people to go out and explore? Never mind. Wu Ming says, it seems we can only collect materials from the Red Maze in the early stages. You're right. Please draw today's card. The system tells me when I wake from a dreamless night. My turn. Draw a card, I shout, getting out of bed excitedly to perform my daily ritual. The card depicts a cat, dissipates, and a blood-red cat elegantly appears in the center of my shelter. It lightly leaps onto the bed, turns onto its side and lies against my leg. I stroke its soft fur and feel for a moment that having such a pet is nice. I don't have to worry about anything. I just have to pet it every day, and I can change breeds every day. What can you give me, I ask. You're not going to give me a cat leg meal, are you? I've never eaten cat meat. Meow. A system prompt appears. Obtained card boost. Draw one item before each action. This item can only be used during this action and disappears after the action ends. Huh, did you do this? Meow. But what is an action? The cat only purrs lazily, showing no intention of answering. Like the big goose, it can only do simple interactions with me. I don't ask further. I pet it, eat something, and use my daily talent ability. Simulated D-class personnel, Larry. Drawing item. Obtained item abyssal egg. Remaining simulation attempts, 10. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I sit speechless in another prison van. Since coming here, I have to ride in a prison van every day, and back on Blue Star I'd only been to the police station a few times, and even then for documents like ID cards. Larry is a bronzed, muscular man around 50 years old, covered in solid muscle, and I feel I could now punch my weak former self to death. The abyssal egg has been placed by the system in my right pants pocket, about the size of a quail egg, feeling somewhat like a peeled cooked chicken egg. I squeeze it and find it very resilient, won't be crushed in my pocket. Things related to the abyss leave a very bad impression on me, and I have no idea how to use this. This time I have only 2 teammates, but there are still 4 supervisors. The other 2 D-class personnel look formidable, similar to Larry. Not long after, the prison van stops near a tunnel entrance. I exit the vehicle. The prisoner transport is still some distance from the tunnel, and the supervising personnel clearly don't want to get close, as if the tunnel would devour them. Number 1, you go first. The captain says, this captain a white man with a serious face who looks unapproachable. The other 2 D-class don't move, and unfortunately this time I'm number 1, so I can't have someone else scout for me. I step forward and let the supervising personnel put a helmet on me. Can you give me a weapon, I ask as usual. The supervisor glances at the captain, sees him nod, draws a dagger from his waist and hands it to me. I approach the tunnel with the dagger. It's a large semicircular 2-lane tunnel, 20 meters wide and 10 meters high, with 2 rows of overhead lights illuminating every corner. I keep to the right entering. There are no people or vehicles inside, the long passage stretching endlessly with no idea where it leads. After about half an hour I haven't encountered anything. No sound from the headset, and the tunnel occasionally bends but doesn't fork, so I can only go forward or turn back. The intensity is a bit low this time, I think idly. I've walked half an hour without encountering any monsters, and last time I had to restart several times within half an hour. Suddenly my vision goes dark, as if every overhead light has gone out at once. I stand still, pitch black, no ray of light, no sound but my own heartbeat and breathing. After waiting a while with no sign of the lights returning, I hesitate and take a step forward, and that step is like pressing a switch. The entire tunnel illuminates instantly. I squint, the environment changing so suddenly I need a moment to adjust, and just then I notice a dark shadow on the left side of the road, diagonally ahead. I sharpen my eyes and barely make out, in the blurry afterimage, a tall humanoid monster, body covered in writhing strips of flesh, limbs long and slender, waist and abdomen covered in bone spurs, a greenish-black tail growing from its back. I turn and run. I only have a dagger. I can't possibly defeat this, which looks very dangerous. Tunnel God, I was just thinking out loud, don't actually give me a bunch of monsters. The monster lets out a frantic roar and lunges like a starved wild dog, but my vision goes dark again only for an instant. The next moment the lights are on and the monster behind me has stopped. Huh, I turn my head, no monster behind me, everything that just happened seeming a hallucination. What the hell? If I weren't sure of my sanity and convinced something is wrong with this tunnel, I'd be wondering if I were going crazy. I hesitate, then turn back to the spot. This time the lights don't go out and there's no trace of any monster. Damn it! This is really spooky. I scratch my hair vigorously. This mission is even more troublesome than the last. I'm not sure whether to keep going or turn back immediately. Forget it. I'll go all the way in this simulation and see what happens. Anyway, I have 10 attempts. I keep walking. The tunnel is dead silent. Only my footsteps. Give me a cup of milk tea. No. Let me encounter a milk tea shop. Let me encounter a few monsters, preferably ones with sharp minds. Let me return to Blue Star and give me 100 million. I make wishes in my head as I walk, because the monster's earlier appearance was too convenient, making me suspect a wish-granting function. The wishes don't come true. After several more tens of minutes, the lights go out again. This time I don't stop. The darkness flashes and disappears. I stare diagonally ahead and silently think, the intensity is a bit low this time. Only one monster after an hour. Last time I had to restart several times within half an hour. Sure enough, a figure appears on the left side of the passage. But it isn't the monster I was imagining. It's one of the D-class personnel who came with me in the same vehicle. Why are you back? Is there anything up ahead? I ask. And at almost the same instant he says, how did you get ahead of me? We both speak simultaneously. I freeze for a moment but immediately realize the other person thinks I had turned back. But I hadn't. The tunnel has no forks. Unless the other started from the other end, they would have had to pass me to get ahead. Would the supervising personnel take him to the other end of the tunnel, I think? Is this some kind of experiment? Is he lying to me? Did he pass me when the lights went out? But what would be the point of him doing that? Is he really D-class? Could he be some kind of mimetic monster? What did you say? Jesse looks at me warily. What do you mean got ahead? Are you dizzy? His right hand reaching for his waist. I'm sorry. Didn't the lights go out earlier? I might have gone the wrong way. I quickly apologize. I don't want a conflict in this situation. I'm strong and the other isn't weak. A single mistake could waste a simulation attempt. Earlier? Wasn't that just now? You're hard to understand. Are you a foreigner? He says. But seeing my good attitude doesn't continue to draw his weapon, though he doesn't approach me either. Have you only encountered the lights going out once, I ask? I encountered it once before. Neither of us closes the distance. We both need a safe cushion. Oh, I see. Maybe it's different sections of the road. That was my first time encountering the lights going out. It was pitch black, couldn't see anything. I waited there a while and then the lights came on as soon as I took a step forward. Jesse complains. Me too. I scratch my hair vigorously. This place is even more troublesome than I thought. Perfect. Since you turned back, let's go back together. After all we've walked for so long with no end in sight and no sound from the headset, I've wanted to go back for a long time, but I was afraid of being shot by those bastards if I went back alone, Jesse says, licking his dry lips. Okay, let's go back together. They shouldn't kill us, at most make us walk again. I agree. After getting closer, I suddenly feel something is off. Jesse looks listless and is in worse shape than I am. Sigh. I've walked for so long I'm a bit hungry. Good thing I ate a lot before coming. He sighs. How long have you been in here? I ask. My vision goes dark and I hear his answer in my ear. Almost 3 hours. I'm really exhausted. I take a hurried step back, but Jesse has already vanished, just like that monster, leaving no trace. Damn it. I turn around and walk back. If that D-class personnel hadn't lied or been delusional, then the anomaly in this tunnel is likely related to time. I've never encountered anything that could alter time, but just imagining it makes my head hurt. No, I can't jump to conclusions. It might not be temporal. There are other possibilities. I walk back, not knowing how long, but it must be far longer than the time I spent going deeper. Ahead, there's still a long passage, and the entrance is gone. Oh boy, I'm screwed. I'm not going to be trapped here until I die, am I? I tear off some scraps of clothing and drop them on the ground as I keep moving, and after a while my vision goes dark again. Now experienced, I take a step forward and a figure appears diagonally ahead, the other D-class personnel. Why are you turning back? Patient number 3 looks at me strangely, feeling that the person in front of him is a bit off. Which number are you to enter? I don't answer, instead posing my own questions. How long have you been in here? I'm patient number 3. Of course I was the third to enter. As for how long, probably a few hours. I don't have a watch so I don't know. He watches me warily, the feeling he's getting from me very unsettling. I don't say much. I leave him behind and continue forward. Wait, can't you get out either? I changed directions a few times before but found I couldn't get out no matter what, and the marks I left earlier were gone. Why did the lights go out just now? Do you know how to get out? He calls after me, because although he doesn't have a good impression of me, I'm the first person he's encountered in this damn tunnel, and he doesn't want to be trapped. I ignore him, just keep walking forward, and when my vision goes dark, the other person vanishes. Heh, I knew it would be like this. I quicken my pace. I don't know if walking forward will do any good, but I can't commit suicide or wait to die, because even if I went through it again, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't know how much longer I walk. I keep moving mechanically. Strangely, I'm not tired at all, nor do I feel hungry or thirsty. What's going on? I feel a bit happy for some reason. I mutter to myself, my speed growing faster and faster. After a long time, the tunnel finally goes dark again. This time I don't pause. The darkness flashes and is gone. Looking diagonally ahead, I freeze. I see myself. Although the other person is wearing a helmet, through the body shape, skin color, and the familiar orange prison uniform, I am certain it is me. The other me turns and runs. I chase after him, shouting for him to stop, but my vision goes dark and that other me vanishes. I stand frozen. This scene seems somewhat familiar. I hurriedly look at my own body, wriggling strips of flesh, elongated limbs, a waist covered in bone spurs. At some point I have already turned into the monster. The monster I had seen before was myself. Abyssal egg. When was I affected? I didn't notice at all. As expected of an abyss item, just carrying it will turn you into this. I don't feel anxious about turning into a monster. This is just a simulation. What's important now is to figure out how to get out. Everything else is irrelevant. Time loop, but how exactly does it loop? Is it related to direction? Is it related to the number of people? Will this place collapse if I kill those 2D class personnel? Should I commit suicide and report the situation here directly to the captain? As soon as that thought emerges, I dismiss it, unless the simulation count resets to 0. I won't risk reporting directly to the captain, because firstly, my talent ability is the D-class personnel simulator, and if I don't resolve the anomaly, I might not be able to return at all. And secondly, I am full of wariness toward the so-called organization. It is an organization that constantly uses human lives to deal with anomalous events. I can't imagine its methods. And once I attract its attention, the consequences would be unpredictable. In the worst case, I could be trapped in the simulation by the organization, unable to return. I'm not yet clear on the state of my own body's existence. If I'm just lying on a bed in the shelter, in a few days I would die of thirst there. So I have to rely on myself to resolve the tunnel's anomaly. While thinking, my steps don't stop. After turning into a monster, my physical fitness is terrifyingly strong. I feel no fatigue at all. Before I can figure out the principle of the loop, the tunnel goes dark again. How could it be so fast, I think? I take a step forward and the lights come on, and a monster stands diagonally opposite. His body is even more robust than mine, covered in twisted mutation organs, far more terrifying than my current form. This time I don't run. I know very well that the monster in front of me is me from the next loop. The two monsters approach each other in the middle of the passage. I want to say hello, but only let out a strange roar. The next loop me has already considered this. He tears off a strip of flesh, a large amount of dark red liquid spilling onto the ground, and uses the bloody strip to write on the floor. The monster's fingers are twisted and grotesque. He can only barely grip the strip and writes deformed characters like he's drawing them. Kill me quickly. This is the last chance. I can't hold on much longer. Miss this chance and you cannot perform the next simulation. After barely managing to write all this, the next loop me forcefully tears open his own chest, exposing his vital organs. I don't hesitate at all. I plunge my forelimb into his chest and thoroughly mangle his vital organs. I trust myself, and the other has written the information about the simulation. Regardless, killing him will allow me to start the next simulation. Afterwards, I deliver a few more blows, and only after confirming that I have thoroughly killed myself do I leave the corpse. Just as I'm about to continue forward, I notice some scars on the corpse's skin. Perhaps the monster's regenerative ability is so strong these scars have already healed, but they still left marks. 3 mathematical symbols representing positive infinity, intersecting to form a bizarre symbol. I don't understand what he was trying to convey for a moment. Could it be that this path is endless? Even so, there is no need to draw 3 infinities. One would be enough to convey despair. But very quickly I realize they aren't 3 infinities at all. They're 3 Mobius strips. No one understands me better than myself, so I quickly catch up with his thoughts. A Mobius strip is a topological structure with a kind of infinite loop, and I don't actually understand the structure deeply, so he was probably just feeling that the situation resembled it. 3 Mobius strips represent 3D class personnel, so we didn't enter the same tunnel. The loops simply have contact points with each other. I think of that inexplicable light-off phenomenon. Perhaps it's a special phenomenon caused by the intersection of 2 Mobius strips. If I don't move forward, the light will always be off, and as soon as I take one step, the light will immediately illuminate the tunnel, and at the moment it does, I will inevitably meet the person on the other loop. If I don't move forward, I will never meet. I glance at my feet. So are we walking on a loop of time? As long as I don't move forward, I will always be at a certain point in time, so the light is always off. And as soon as I move forward, I leave the intersection and the person disappears. So direction has no meaning. All I can choose is to stay or move forward. I just came in not long ago and encountered myself, who had turned into a monster and completed the first cycle. 3 loops intersect. Each loop has an intersection point with the other. 2 loops, the number 2 and number 3 I encountered before, were not the number 2 and number 3 behind me, but the number 2 and number 3 who had looped back were about to complete a full circle and hadn't yet met themselves. But why did the next me want me to kill him? Why not cycle a few more rounds? Shouldn't we be looking for a way to break the cycle? Going back now is just starting over. Has he already found a way to break the cycle but didn't tell me? No, that's wrong. He wouldn't possibly not mention such an important matter at all. He only left the Mobius strip as a hint, indicating that he hadn't thought of a way to break the cycle. Then why the rush to get out? Last chance. Can't hold on. Can't perform next simulation. Is there anything that can prevent me from performing the next simulation? Is there anything that can make it so I can't even commit suicide? Abyssal egg. The abyssal egg causes mutation of the body. If the mutation continues, I'll lose control, to the point where I can't even kill myself. The out-of-control monster will keep cycling, and I'll be trapped here forever. But won't the monster kill its cycling self? No, that's wrong. Each cycle the monster will strengthen. If I don't cooperate, I won't be able to kill the next cycling self. And I can't kill me, because without me I wouldn't exist. Then if I find a way for him to kill me, will it end the cycle? No, that's too risky. My understanding of time is too shallow. Random attempts could trigger unknown risks. There are still rules here now. Once a time paradox is triggered, I might be completely lost in the time tunnel. My steps don't stop. The severe physical mutation has begun affecting my mental state. It's as if someone is whispering in my ear, inaudible, yet ceaseless. Occasionally, light and shadow flash in my field of vision, but on closer inspection I see nothing. If this continues, it won't be long before I become a true madman. Forget it, don't think so much. The cycle will be left to the next simulated self to solve. Now I just need to walk toward the predetermined ending. I relaxed my body and checked my condition as I walk, suddenly discovering that I seem to have far fewer alienated organs than the next cycle me. Did they alienate later, but why did they all grow on the body surface? Something's wrong. The blood corpse's alienated organs are inside the body. Is it because of the special nature of the abyssal egg? But what kind of creature would grow its vital points on its body surface? It's not an ornament. Ah, did I catalyze them myself? But why would I catalyze alienated organs on my body surface? For suicide. That's right, alienated creatures have exceptionally tenacious vitality. If I don't think of a way, I might not be able to kill myself at all. So I still have to move the alienated organs that will grow next to the surface of my body. I begin to study my body. Only after I start studying it do I realize that after turning into a monster, I seem to have gained a sensory ability distinct from the five senses. This sensory ability is exceptionally powerful. Without using my eyes, I can perceive my surroundings and even directly perceive the conditions inside my body. Relying on it, I begin to study and influence my mutation process. After an unknown amount of time, I finally encountered my last cycle self again. On the way, I separately encountered number 2 and number 3 once more, and this time when they saw me, they turned and ran, because I had become too terrifying. After encountering myself, I reenact the previous meeting scene according to the script. Alienated organs growing on the body surface, the traces of the Mobius strip, the blood writing prying open my chest, waiting for death. The process is very smooth. After all, this is the predetermined ending. By this point, I am already somewhat unable to control myself. The abyssal egg has its own consciousness, and I cannot commit suicide by bypassing the abyss consciousness. Prying open my chest is already my limit. On the way, I had concentrated all my energy in my heart, catalyzing a deformed yet powerful alienated heart. Without a doubt, this heart is my vital point. Through this simulation, my understanding of alienated creatures and alienated organs deepens by several levels. I even begin to consider whether to try mutation of my main body. I don't want to become a monster, but I covet the strength of alienated creatures. The human body has its limits. No matter how much you train or practice, you can only infinitely approach that limit and cannot break through, no matter how hard you try, and mutation is the key to breaking limits. Actually, the word mutation isn't entirely accurate. This is a kind of evolution at the life level. It's just that it requires precise control of the dosage. Once a certain limit is exceeded, it will alienate into a monster. And alienating into a monster not only deforms the body, but also has a significant impact on the mind. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I open my eyes. I am sitting in the familiar prison van with number 2D class personnel opposite me. Remaining simulation attempts 9. There are still 9 simulation attempts left, I think. If it weren't for fear of my main body having an accident if the time was too long. Perhaps I should simulate a few more times here and carefully study the mutation process. I suddenly realized that the powerful aspect of my innate ability isn't being able to acquire supplies, but being able to experience anomalous events to gain experience and research mutation using a simulated body. I am the first to enter the tunnel again. Unlike the previous simulated mission, the order of entering matters little to whether the incident can be resolved, and communicating with the captain or letting patient number 3 go in first might cause unknown trouble. I could try, but there's no need. I do nothing that would affect the future direction. This time I don't want to greatly change the outcome of the last simulation. I only want to be calmly killed by myself. The time loop is very dangerous. If I act recklessly relying on the simulation count, it's very likely to lead to a situation where I can't even commit suicide. I want to use the time of one simulation to think about how to safely end the time loop. I do not throw away the abyssal egg. This thing is troublesome. Throwing it away might lead to unpredictable consequences, and keeping it leads to my mutation. Without the abyssal egg, I could always communicate with my future self in the next loop, and each simulation would give me more time to think. But without it, I also couldn't deeply understand the mutation process, so it's hard to say which is better. This time I silently observed my body's state while moving, to prevent turning into a monster without realizing. Perhaps because of the perception, this time I can clearly sense the abyssal egg affecting me. After about half an hour, my vision goes black. I take a step forward and my monster self appears diagonally opposite. I approach. Just as I'm about to speak, the monster me suddenly speaks. It's okay, this time I controlled the mutation process and retained the ability to speak, but I probably won't be able to speak in the next loop. His voice hoarse and a bit off key, but easier than communicating by writing in blood. Let's get to the point, we don't have much time. Have you found a way to stop a loop? This is the first time I've spoken to myself, and it feels a bit strange. Don't rush. The monster me looks calm. We are standing at a certain point in time. As long as we don't move forward, we have infinite time. What are you talking about? I retort. Our bodies are still in the shelter. Can you be sure that the time here is synchronized with the shelter? What if the simulation time is cumulative? I'm afraid that when I go back, I'll find myself starved to death. I feel a bit strange. Myself shouldn't be unable to think of such a simple thing. The monster me's composure slowly drains away, as if he's only now realizing the problem. I probably can't help you anymore. The simulation failed. Kill me. I do not rush to act. I want to understand what's wrong. What's going on? The abyss is more terrifying than I imagined. As my understanding of the abyss deepens, the influence of the abyss consciousness on me will also deepen. I am already trapped. You must kill me. You cannot enter the next loop. He tears open his body and hands me the dagger from his waist. Don't rush. We still have time. Just as you said, we are standing at a point in time, and the influence of the abyss consciousness on you will not deepen. I look at him, wondering whether the other is acting, or has truly forgotten. Because time formed a loop, since the loop has already begun. I should have experienced such a conversation once. Only then I was in his position. No, the abyss is not that simple, he says. Time and space cannot block the influence of the abyss. Walking on the edge of the abyss. No, I am already deep within it. He shows a strange smile, spreads his arms and lets his body fall backward to the ground as if in free fall. Blood gushes from his chest, splattering all over me. I do not dodge. Instead, I quickly step forward and deliver a few more stabs, completely killing him. The other seemed to be reminding me of some information, but I completely failed to understand what he wanted to express, so I can only continue walking forward. As I walk, I sense the mutation of my body. Under the influence of the abyssal egg, a large amount of free-floating energy in the air surges into me. In this situation, I can only affect the alienated parts, making it difficult to slow mutation, and there's no way to attempt moderate mutation. Amid the infiltration of the free energy, my heart is the first to undergo mutation, gradually forming my first alienated organ. The moment the alienated heart forms, I perceive a broader world. That is an abyss without bottom or end. It is emptiness. It is the world. It is everything. I stand at the edge of the abyss, looking into its depths. I seem to see a lot, yet also seem to see nothing at all. What are you talking about, I hear? Our bodies are still in the shelter. Coming back to my senses, I find myself standing in front of myself. I probably can't help you anymore. This simulation failed. Kill me. The me opposite does not act, but instead asks, what's going on? The abyss is more terrifying than I imagined, I say, as my understanding of the abyss deepens, the influence of the abyss consciousness on me will also deepen. I am already trapped. You must kill me, you cannot enter the next loop. I tear open my body, revealing my alienated heart, and hand the dagger from my waist to the other me. Don't rush. We still have time. The me in front of me says, just as you said, we are standing at a point in time and the influence of the abyss consciousness on you will not deepen. No, the abyss is not that simple. I say time and space cannot block the influence of the abyss. Walking on the edge of the abyss. No, I am already deep within it. I show a strange smile. I finally understand how to leave here, so I spread my arms and let my body fall backward to the ground as if in free fall. Blood gushes from my chest, splattering all over the me opposite. The corpse falls to the ground, and I plunge into the abyss. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I open my eyes. I am sitting in a familiar spot, with patient number 3D class personnel beside me. Remaining simulations, 8. The simulation didn't end. Do I have to leave the tunnel alive, or do I have to resolve the anomaly? Never mind, it's all about the same. I already know how to deal with this tunnel. I just need to connect the abyss and the tunnel, and the abyss will solve all my problems. Actually, I had already resolved the tunnel loop in the previous simulation, but perhaps because I was already dead, then a new simulation began. This time I just need to come out alive. Just give Crook everything to the Crook abyss and it will be fine. I show a strange smile. I enter the tunnel again. This time I don't need to walk far. I can arrive in half an hour. I walk through the tunnel with a look of fanaticism, a frenzy that spreads like a virus throughout my body, raising my overall body temperature by 2 degrees. The high fever ignites my sanity, burning away the last remnants of reason. Mad thoughts occupy my brain. If I didn't still have a mission to complete, I would want to cut off my own head right now just to see what it felt like. Finally, I step into the darkness. This time I don't leave. Instead, I take out the abyssal egg and hold it over my head. At the same time, in the darkness on the other side, another me also holds a fragmented abyssal egg over his head, and in the other 2 cycles, the fragmented abyssal egg grows in the darkness, gradually taking shape. The ritual begins. The abyss connects to the tunnel, and the entire tunnel plunges into the abyss. I also want to fall into that void to experience an endless descent, but the anomaly has disappeared, the mission is complete, and some kind of power forcibly pulls me back to the ground. Walking out of the tunnel, everything ends. Simulation ended. Remaining simulation count, 8. Obtained random items appearing in this event, times 8. Obtained time rule fragment, times 1. Obtained title, plunged into the abyss. Abyss residue detected in shelter. Processing. Processing complete. Obtained gate of the abyss. I wake in my bed, not fully conscious, feeling as if I have just had a long dream and can't immediately distinguish where I am. A red cat jumps onto my lap and rubs its head against my stomach. I'm in the shelter. The mission is over. After another half minute, I finally figure out the situation, and recalling the memories from the simulation, I involuntarily shiver. For me, that feeling of complete loss of control was terrifying. If the shelter weren't absolutely safe, I would probably still be in that state. Forget it. I won't think about it anymore. Since things have come to this, let's see what I gained. I glance at the extra dark door that has appeared on the room wall, pretending it doesn't exist. My luck this time was good. It was hard to die in the tunnel, and with 8 remaining simulation counts, I obtained a total of 8 items. The 8 are laid out on the floor: a handgun loaded with bullets, a simple ration pack, a simple medical kit, 4 familiar-looking mutated organs, and a dark quail egg-sized oval object. I open the system and submit the 4 organs to the shelter advancement mission, bringing the progress to 5 out of 10. I categorize the other items and place them in the corner of the room, alongside my previous acquisitions. I place the abyssal egg outside the sliding door. Although it is no longer dangerous, I still don't want to share a room with that thing. There are 3 notifications on the system interface: the time rule fragment, the gate of the abyss, and my new title. And I check them one by one. The time rule fragment can be integrated into a talent ability to add new effects, with a note that it is a precious fragment with special functions, highly compatible with my talent ability, and a prompt asking if I wish to integrate it. Yes, I say. I check personal information again and find my talent ability has changed. D-Class Personnel Simulator can randomly simulate a D-Class personnel currently on a mission every day. Upon death, time is reversed, allowing for 1 reality simulation, 1 out of 1, with a note: why would anyone want to seek death? Holy crap, I think. Happiness has arrived too suddenly. The new effect added by the time rule fragment is even stronger than the talent ability itself. Although it can only be used once, that's enough for me. This is a safety net. Even if I die, as long as it isn't a certain death situation, I can return alive through simulation. Moreover, if I find new time rule fragments, I might be able to increase the number of uses. I click on the new title: Plunged into the Abyss. You once plunged into the abyss and escaped with the help of external forces, with a note that I have attracted the attention of certain entities in the abyss. I have nothing to say to that. Then the gate of the abyss, a passage connected to the abyss. Opening it allows me to invite certain abyss dwellers to be guests in my shelter, with a note that if I can prepare things they are interested in, they will give me satisfactory rewards. I look at the dark door and decide not to touch it for now. The shelter is indeed absolutely safe, but what if those so-called abyss dwellers decide not to leave? I know absolute safety only lasts 7 days, and after 7 days I would be the one suffering. I check the time. The simulation only took a few hours, and it isn't noon yet. Outside the window, the fog still obscures everything, and there are occasional noises outside the door, but I can't see anything through the peephole. I take out an energy bar and a bottle of mineral water, open the communication interface, and start eating lunch. As soon as I open the interface, I see a flood of messages with pictures, and at first I think they're explicit photos, but on closer look, they're pictures of bodily mutation. How's my Chilin arm? I feel like I could punch a blood corpse to death right now. The Vajra leg is stronger. I kick 2 zombies to death with 1 strike. Fellow big shots, does anyone have extra alienation cards? I'll trade food for them. Seeking arm card. Trading leg card. Who has red liquid? Buying at a high price. Where's goose-leg bro? Have you undergone mutation? Do you have an alienation guide? I alienated my internal organs. What use is this? Damn, a rare card though I don't know what it's for. You could try cutting it open. Big brothers, I'm a student, seeking an alienation card, preferably for limb mutation. Did the guy above alienate his brain? Why isn't it dark yet? My Vajra leg is already raring to go. The chat is full of alienation cards. I scroll up and quickly find the cause. A survivor accidentally used the dark red card and the card alienated his right arm, and he was terrified and sought help in the group. But this instead triggered an alienation craze. The method for using an alienation card is very simple. Just stick the card to the skin. After a few minutes, the card integrates into the skin and mutation automatically occurs. Cards have different patterns. Cards with different patterns result in different alienated body parts. And currently the most popular are cards for arms and legs, which happen also to be the most numerous. Mutation, however, requires consuming a large amount of matter and energy. The original survivor ate everything edible in his shelter to no avail, finally completing the mutation only after drinking a bottle of red liquid. I look at chat, utterly bewildered. These people are truly daring. I don't even dare to alienate my own body casually. Is this what they call ignorance is bliss? I don't post about the dangers of mutation in the group. I simply reply, I haven't alienated. It feels quite dangerous, and I'm a bit scared. The reason I don't publicize the dangers is that I myself only have a superficial understanding, and I won't say much about things I don't deeply understand. Since the system allowed them to obtain mutation cards, it means using them is also a part of survival, and this is not something I can interfere with. After finishing half of a tasteless energy bar, I open the trading interface, compare the patterns, keep one of each for myself, and put up the remaining mutation cards for the arm and leg parts for exchange for other body part cards and other items. Not long after, I receive a private message from Jangwi. Hello, Brother Im, he says. What is it? I reply. Brother Im, do you understand about mutation cards? I have some understanding, but not deeply, so I didn't post it for fear of misleading others. Can you tell me about it? Mutation is very dangerous. It's best to wait a bit longer. Is that all? Yes. Do you see any mutation cards you need here? And he sends several card images. I don't have the fourth one yet. I reply, and Jangui immediately initiates a trade and sends the card to me. Can you tell me more? He asks. The principle of mutation is the body absorbing energy for reinforcement, and alienated organs are the staged result of reinforcement. I explain. Mutation needs to be maintained within a certain limit, otherwise it will cause extremely severe effects on the body and mind. However, this limit is very difficult to maintain. It's fine in the shelter, but in the red maze, breathing and activity will automatically absorb this energy to strengthen your body. Therefore, I don't recommend you use mutation cards. So even if we don't use mutation cards, we can still alienate our bodies by moving around in the red maze, he asks. No, the energy absorbed by breathing and activity has a very slow effect on the body and cannot be compared to using mutation cards at all. My point is, if you use a card and then go to the red maze, there won't be an impact for a short period, but if you continue, you'll be finished before long. However, since the system allowed you to obtain the cards, it means there will be a way to solve this situation in the future, and if you don't use them now, you might die outside, so I don't want to say too much. Whether to use them or not is up to you to consider. I understand, thank you for the explanation, he says. No need to thank me, you paid for it. Elsewhere, in another exchange I do not see, Jangui reports back to his guild leader. Guild leader, I've finished asking. He wanted card number 4. Here's the screenshot. You've worked hard, Wu Ming says. As expected, card number 4 is the rarest. The guild only has 2. Should we tell the members this information? Jangui asks. Tell them in stages, Wu Ming replies. Only tell the core members about the red maze part. Understood. Don't use mutation cards yet. The risk is too great. Let me know if you need anything. Yes. Thank you for your concern, guild leader. Time flies and it is evening. I have just finished the remaining half of my energy bar when I receive a system notification. Night activity begins. Tonight's activity, explore the maze. Would you like to join? 10-minute countdown ticking. Yes, I answer. I take only half a minute to put on my gear. The necessary items have already been packed, ready to go at any time. The 10 minutes pass quickly. I put down my cat and I watch the countdown reach 0. I rub my head and climb up off the dark red ground. Around me are familiar corridors and rooms, and my backpack and weapons are all in order. The system reminds me again that for the first 3 days the probability of treasure chests is increased, and the probability of rank creatures is reduced, and the quality of treasure chest output is improved. And the first treasure chest opened by a participant will definitely contain a shelter upgrade blueprint. Then begins the night activity at 1:59:59. Item acquired, Lucky Cattail Amulet. Improves the quality of items in treasure chests, with a note that they say cats have 9 lives, so they should have 9 tails too, right? The Cattail Amulet is a cattail necklace. I put it on my neck and feel a warmth. At this moment, I suddenly remember that I had found a cross necklace before, but because there was no system prompt, I didn't know what it did. The cross necklace is in my backpack, and not just the cross necklace but mutation cards, red liquid, food, and medicine. I brought everything I might possibly use. I try wearing the cross necklace, and in an instant I feel as if I had returned to that tunnel, experiencing again the extraordinary senses that only a monster possessed. Holy crap, I gasp, and quickly take off the necklace. Its effect is so strong I'm afraid of side effects. It would be better to study it back in the shelter. Putting it away, I begin searching for locked red rooms and blood courses. I still need 5 alienated organs to upgrade my shelter. Now that I have bullets, I'm not afraid of encountering ordinary mutated creatures. If it's the blood corpse from before, I might not even need to waste bullets. In the previous simulation, I had learned in detail how to kill mutated creatures from the perspective of an alienated monster. Alienated organs are the vital points of alienated creatures. Once the organ is destroyed, the rest is easy to deal with, and alienated parts are generally quite obvious and easy to find. It only takes 5 minutes for me to encounter a locked red room. Including the keys I traded for, I now have 7 red keys and 1 special room metal key, so I don't have to worry about running out for now. Before unlocking, I still knock on the door as usual. Just as I think the room will be as quiet as before, I hear faint footsteps from inside. An unexpected gain, I think. I knock harder. This time there are clear roars and the sound of limbs hitting the door. It sounds like a blood corpse. Should I use the pistol? It feels a bit like wasting bullets. Those D-class personnel who are alive usually knew a few. After thinking for a moment, I holster my pistol in an easily accessible spot, draw my dagger with my right hand, use the key to open the door with my left, and simultaneously retreat. The blood corpse bursts through and lunges at me. I dodge the pounce by stepping aside and forcefully stomp on the side of its left knee. The knee deforms with a crack, and before the unbalanced corpse can react, I plunge my dagger into its side abdomen. Clearly abnormal and likely the alienated part. Pulling out the dagger, I turn and run. The blood corpse limps after me for a while, then collapses, completely still. After handing over the mutation organ, I return to the door, which has been pushed open, revealing a mahogany box. Opening it, I find a blood-red, straight, long blade, about 1 meter in length with a guardless single-edged blade and a pure black hilt. Though called a long blade, it looks more like a single-edged longsword, and there is no scabbard. Wow, this is great. I just needed a longer weapon. I carefully grip the hilt and pick it up. The red blade isn't heavy but isn't light either, just right to use. There is only one item in the chest, likely due to the cattail charm's effect. I test the red blade on the blood corpse, and it easily cuts through the flesh with very little resistance. After dismembering the corpse, I continue exploring. With this weapon, as long as I can find enough blood cores, I am confident I can upgrade the shelter today. Just as I am happily exploring, I encounter a red room with its door wide open. I cautiously peek inside. That one glance makes me instinctively take a step back. It is difficult to describe the situation in the room. If forced to describe it, 2 words would suffice: a nest. Inside is a nest of flesh and blood. The floor, walls, and ceiling, every part of the room is covered in writhing flesh and blood, various remains piled and fused together, forming some kind of new creature. Most conspicuous is a man who has been dismembered, his parts scattered throughout the room and mixed with other things. What the hell? What is this monstrosity? Even with everything I've experienced, I'm startled by what's in there. It's something abnormal, beyond common sense. Before I can react further, the monster has already noticed me and launched an attack. The entire corridor begins to shake as heaps of flesh and blood squeeze out of the room, roaring as they lunge at me. I turn and run. This monster, in every sense, is not something I can handle. Don't run. Help. Have you eaten? Hello. Various voices emanate from the mass of flesh, the loudest the man's head, which despite being connected by only a few strands of flesh, is still shouting for help. I can't save it. I'm the one who wants to scream for help. The monster's speed isn't fast, but it certainly isn't slow either. I at full speed am slightly faster than it is, but I can't maintain full speed indefinitely. I'd be exhausted in a few minutes at most. Once it caught up, it would be my turn to be dismembered. I try to put distance between us, but even half a corridor away, out of sight, it shows no sign of stopping, relentlessly pursuing as if it would never give up. Actually, I could have found a room to hide in, but that would leave me no retreat. If the monster blocked the doorway, I would be finished, so I can only keep running forward, hoping to find a way out. Half a minute later, I begin to slow. I can still keep going, but if I push it much longer, I'll lose the ability to resist. I take out the cross necklace from my backpack and put it on. I don't know if this thing has any side effects, but I urgently need sensory perception to figure out the monster's mutation parts. After putting it on, I am stunned. A flood of chaotic information I have never perceived before pours into my brain. At that moment, I feel as if I have ascended a dimension, moving from a lower to a higher plane. However, the feeling lasts only a short while. I quickly return to normal, as if the extraordinary senses were merely an illusion. But I still retain a faint sensation, and combined with my previous simulation experience, I follow the feeling and gradually rediscover a weak, extraordinary sense. I can feel my body in intense motion. Taut muscles, an overly fast contracting heart, a brain sparking with activity. My life is burning fiercely, but compared to the monster hot on my heels, it isn't as obvious. If I am a burning torch, then the monster behind me is flowing lava. There is a fundamental difference between us. I slow my pace. I need to get closer to perceive it more clearly. Since I can't run away, I can only try to deal with it. According to the information I'm perceiving, a reckless frontal confrontation offers no chance of victory. My only chance lies in those 10 bullets. Only by hitting its vital points with those 10 bullets can I hope to survive. I feign exhaustion, allowing the monster to close. 20 meters, 15, 10, 9. When it is 8 meters away, it suddenly pauses, and several whooshing sounds come from behind. I'd sensed something was wrong the moment it paused. Before the sounds even register, I abruptly drop to the ground, using my momentum to roll and crawl around the corner at the end of the corridor. Flesh-like bullets slam into the wall, leaving blood-red marks. If I had reacted a little slower, if I hadn't had my sensory ability, I would have been splattered by those flesh bullets by now. After turning the corner, I get up. I don't continue fleeing. I press myself against the inner side of the corner, draw the pistol, and wait for the monster to approach. I'm too close. There is no safe distance left. Continuing to run would only lead to 2 possibilities, either being shot to pieces by the monster, or dodging the flesh bullets only to be caught and dismembered. Therefore, this corner is my only chance of victory. I close my eyes, my perception spreading outward like invisible tentacles. Time at this moment stretches infinitely. 4 meters. I raise both pistols, the muzzles aimed at the wall, moving with the most intense point of energy within the monster. 3 meters. 2 primary points, 4 secondary points. 2 meters. 10 bullets. 2 for each primary point, 1 for each secondary point, with 2 bullets reserved. 1 meter. The muzzles need to move twice. I can use the recoil to twitch them. 0. Fire. The moment the monster crashes into the corner, I open my eyes wide, my pupils shrinking to a pinprick, and my fingers twitch, the bullets piercing into the monster's body like awls. Bang, 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 bang. The muzzles are less than 20 centimeters from the monster's surface, and at this distance I will not miss. Without checking the results, I'm already retreating while firing, and I give the monster 2 more shots as I retreat. Bang, bang. These 2 shots are meant to disrupt the monster's overall balance. I can't really say why I fire them. I just suddenly feel that 2 extra shots will be better. Their effect is even better than I had imagined. The monster, which had been struggling to attack, is knocked down by the final 2 shots. It lies sprawled, struggling for a good while before finally failing to get back up. I watch from a distance until it is completely motionless, and wait another 10 minutes. Only after perceiving that it is truly dead do I approach. At this point, my vision suddenly goes black. My brain throbs with a sharp pain. My stomach churns, and the nearly digested food, accompanied by stomach acid, surges into my mouth. Cough. Damn it. I hunch over, dry heaving until I have emptied my stomach, which makes me feel a little better, but my vision is still dim, and the sharp pain in my brain grows more intense. I hastily remove the cross necklace. As the special senses recede, the throbbing pain gradually eases. Damn it. This cross necklace is too strong. I slump powerlessly to the ground, staring at the dark red ceiling, occasional snowflakes and golden stars flashing before my eyes. After lying there for over 10 minutes, the after effects completely subside. I crawl up from the ground, walk over to the corpse and begin to process it. This monster is different from the previous blood courses. They aren't on the same level of life, and its corpse is quite valuable. It takes me half an hour to completely dismantle the pile of bloody flesh and find 6 mutation organs within it. Dissecting these organs reveals complex and chaotic structures, extremely high mutation, and very poor stability. So this monster was so messy, I think, unable to come up with a better word. Continuing the dissection, I record the structures and finally find some irregular dark red crystal bodies in 2 main organs. Kidney stones? No, they should be energy crystals. Otherwise, these organs would be hard-pressed to unleash such high energy during movement. I find a small bag to collect the crystals. I am very interested in this type of crystal. I submit 4 mutation organs to complete the task, and keep the crystals and the remaining organs. I eat something, return to the open room, find a mutation card I don't have inside, put it away and continue exploring along the corridor. My current condition is very average, and I have run out of bullets, so encountering another monster would be very troublesome. Fortunately, the place is large enough, sparsely populated, and it would take a long time to encounter another. When the countdown has 15 minutes left, I encounter another red corridor without any rooms. I quickly run to the end, push open the red double doors, and it's still the same hall. Across from me are red double doors, to the left a mahogany door, but this time to the right is a light yellow locked room. Quite a lot of tricks. I knock. Confirm there's no movement inside. First try with the red key. When it doesn't open, use the metal key for special rooms. The metal key disappears once it works. Pushing open the door, inside is a standard light yellow room. There are 2 machines in the room, and I understand their functions after a quick glance because it's too obvious. The person who made these machines probably wanted to create something even an idiot could use. On the left is a vending machine. On the right, an automatic receiving machine. The currency is red coins, and the goods are displayed in a glass cabinet. Although there's no item description, I have seen some of the goods. Red liquid, 1 red coin per bottle. A certain mutation card, 10 red coins per card. Another, 5 red coins per card. Another, 3 red coins. The only goods I recognize are these 4 types, with several mutation cards worth 3, 2 worth 5, and only 1 worth 10. Beyond these are more expensive, darker red liquids, and other goods whose effects I don't know. The most expensive, a blood-colored bone knife worth 100 red coins. Effect unknown. I only have 47 red coins on me, most of which I've traded for. So poor I can't buy anything. I want to buy a magical item similar to the cross necklace, not consumables. It isn't that consumables are useless, but at this stage I don't need them. Items are simpler and easier to use. But the cheapest item costs 50 red coins, which I just can't afford. After thinking for a moment, I take out the small bag, pick out the smallest crystal, and put it into the receiving machine next to me. Some coins drop from the slot, 10 red coins. I still have 5 larger crystals, and after thinking I sell another 1, exchanging it for 15 red coins. I don't plan to sell the rest, since I can't determine the value and selling them to the receiving machine might be a loss. I spent 50 red coins on a ring-shaped finger ring, then used 20 red coins to buy the 3 most expensive mutation cards before leaving the light yellow shop. I don't try to destroy the vending machine. It's likely a system device, and I wouldn't be surprised if it turned into a monster after being attacked. Perhaps it has no protective measures at all, but people should maintain due reverence for the unknown. I don't want to die in a place like this because of a failed vending machine robbery. The countdown ends, and I return to the shelter. Shelter tier up mission complete. Do you want to upgrade the shelter tier? Yes. As soon as I'm back, I receive the prompt. But under my expectant gaze, nothing changes. Huh? Advancement complete. I check shelter information and the data has changed. Level Tier 1, new functions, basic facilities, and basic information probe. Status absolutely safe for 14 days. With a note to please upgrade my shelter level within 14 days. I study for a while before understanding the new functions. First, basic facilities. The shelter now has water, not just tap water, but electricity and gas can also be used. However, I currently don't have many devices that can use them. I can turn on the lights at night, so besides checking chat and sleeping, I can do other things at night. I happily take a shower and then boil a kettle of water. The shelter is absolutely safe. I don't think the water will be a problem. If the system wanted to kill me, there are plenty of other ways. It's a pity that the shelter's water can't be traded, otherwise I'd be selling drinking water in bulk. The other basic information probe function is exactly what I need to check item information. Now I can identify items through the system. Red liquid, for example, is nutrient solution. Edible can supplement some special energy and nutrients, with a note to please drink in moderation. Otherwise, consequences are at your own risk. Patient number 2 mutation card, used by attaching to a biological surface, can cause biological mutation with a note to collect cards 1 through 10 for a special surprise. Number 4, mutation card with the same description. Aside from number 1 and the strangely formatted number 4 card, I have already collected the other 8. Number 2 found in that monster's room. Number 4 given by Jangwei. Numbers 5 and 6 bought with red coins. The others I had before. Among them, card 10 alienates the arm, card 9 the leg, card 8 a random organ in the abdomen, and the other cards have not been used by anyone yet. I run probes on the rest of my haul. The cross necklace increases perception after wearing, with a note that long-term wear can cause irreversible brain damage. The red coins, a currency for trade, with a note that it's a universal currency usable in many areas. The active eyeball of a first-order creature, a good piece, transplantable, with a note that after transplantation there is a certain probability of using the eyeball's original abilities. The assembled humanoid, a nearly perfect work of art, with a note that perhaps I can learn the techniques of cutting and assembly from it. The abyssal egg, an egg-shaped object from the abyss, now harmless and hatchable, with a note guessing there's an abyssal worm inside. What do I think? The red blade, a first-order bladed weapon from the red maze, with a note that infused with psionic energy it can easily cut through the flesh of first-order creatures. Mixed energy crystal, edible, provides energy, with a note that it tastes average. Psionic ring can rapidly absorb psionic energy from the environment to strengthen the wearer's body, with a note that it's a good low-tier item. Red key, a key to open the red room, with a note that it can only open regular rooms. Damaged mutated organ, edible, provides certain special substances, with a note that it's shelter upgrade material. K1 pistol, a low-end gunpowder weapon mass-produced by the organization, now only used by grassroots members, with a note that it balances power and recoil, an excellent gunpowder weapon. Energy bar, high-calorie food mass-produced by the organization. 1 bar can sustain a normal adult male's nutritional needs for a whole day, with a note that ignoring taste and texture, this is probably efficiency. I spend some time examining all the items one by one, learning a lot of information I didn't know before. The region count now reads 992,643 out of 1 million. Opening chat, there are definitely more people who entered the red maze this time than last, but only fewer than 2,000 died, which can be considered progress. If I hadn't provided the information and mutation cards, many more would have died. The group is very lively, everyone showing off their gains, various item trading information flying. I don't speak, I just take photos of a hot shower, a running faucet, and boiling water and send them to the group. The reactions roll in, question marks. Holy crap, goose-leg bro has new stuff again. No, why is there no water in my faucet? Bro, give us some water, the kids are dying of thirst. Is this a shelter upgrade effect? But I only got 1 mutated organ and almost died in the maze. I haven't even found a shelter upgrade blueprint yet. I tell them the shelter water sources cannot be traded through the system. Stop for a moment, I'll tell you some new information, and then I send common item info and the new functions of the upgraded shelter to the group. Only after I finished does a new round of discussion begin. Buying mutated organs. Get lost, you need 10 organs to upgrade, and if you can't upgrade within 7 days, who knows what will happen? What are you going to buy with? Your life. Selling mutated organs in exchange for 2 arm cards and 2 leg cards? Are you crazy? You really dare to ask for that much? If I had that many, I'd use them myself to kill blood corpses. I searched all night and only encountered 1 blood corpse. Where did Goose-leg bro get so many? Probably exchanged them using his talent ability. Damn, are all your talent abilities that fierce? Hard to say, I feel like mine is pretty strong too, but it feels average when used. Useless. I receive many private messages with pictures, all from survivors wanting to trade. I complete several suitable trades. Currently, survivors don't have many good items, but they aren't completely without them either. For example, design blueprints. Although they can only be crafted once and require materials, the items produced are all very good. First order psionic crystal generator blueprint. Required materials first order mutated organ 0 out of 10, with a note that energy is the hard currency. I use 2 number 10 cards, 1 number 9 card, and 3 bottles of nutrient solution to exchange for this blueprint. If it weren't for the materials required for this blueprint making the seller dizzy just looking at them, the other party would never have put it up for trade. According to the seller, he got it from an item room. Currently, not many people with resources are willing to trade for this temporarily unusable blueprint, and I am the most famous, so the seller found me first. 10 first-order organs should be enough to upgrade the shelter to the next stage. I use the blueprint, and another blueprint task appears on the system interface. After completing a few more trades of cards for red coins, I receive a private message from Jangwei. Boss, are you there? Yes. Do you still have any extra mutated organs? I have 2. Please take a look at this card. You should not have it, but I don't know if it's number 1 or number 3. Jangwei directly trades the mutation card to me, completely unafraid that I'd take it. After I receive the card, I scan it with the system. Number 3, mutation card. Apply to the surface of a creature to cause mutation. Collect cards number 1. 1-0 for a special surprise. I resend the information and the card to Jangui, but he doesn't accept it. Boss, I want to trade this card for a mutated organ plus something else. I'll give you one each of cards number 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, boss. After you complete the synthesis, can you tell me what the synthesis is for? Yes, if there are no problems, I'll say it in the group. But I don't know when I'll find card number 1. No rush, thank you. After completing the trade, I make a few more by private message. I now have over 20 people in my friend list, all successful survivors in the area. After finishing the trades, I pour some hot water on the abyssal egg, then go to the assembled humanoid mural and begin to study the cutting and assembly techniques mentioned in the notes. The next morning, the radio on the bedside crackles to life with that same broadcast tone, and a calm, presenter-bright voice begins to read the day's city sound bulletin. The 3rd floor of the Doomsday apartment is the domain of gore, the announcer says, with bloodstains arranged outside every shelter door, just waiting for those poor and ignorant survivors to step out. Today's lucky viewer is Mr. Lin, residing in room 304 of the Doomsday apartment, and his lucky moment will begin today at 9:56 and 41 seconds. Perhaps he can do something at that time. The threadworms in the sewers are already parched and ravenous, just waiting for those sanctuaries to lose their absolute safety effect. They will then enter the sanctuaries through every crack connected to the sewers and devour the poor survivors inside. Today's City Sound broadcast concludes here, the announcer finishes. Thanks for the companionship, and let us continue to share the little joys of life in our next broadcast. The whole thing only lasts 10 minutes, but Mr. X has packed in a lot of information about this city, and I forward the irrelevant pieces to the group, telling everyone this is information I obtained using my talent ability, and that I'm not entirely sure of its accuracy, so they can decide whether to use it as a reference. The chat lights up almost instantly, voices stacking on top of each other. Holy cow, the big shot is already making moves so early. Awesome. We're still trapped indoors and the big shot is already developing in the city. The urban legend of the big shot's talent ability. Damn, that sounds terrifying. The monsters outside are already targeting us. Doesn't that mean we're dead if we can't upgrade the shelter in 7 days? Give up on wishful thinking. If you don't want to die, listen to the system's prompts. But I still haven't gotten a mutation organ. Only 5 days left. Not going to the red maze is just waiting for death. No one can help you except yourself. I don't say much in response. I hope more people in this area survive, but there isn't really much more I can do for them than this. I glance at the system clock. There's still an hour until the lucky moment, so I decide to use my talent ability then, and for now I just continue studying the murals in the shelter. A long while later, the simulation prompt finally appears in my vision, telling me a D-class personnel named Triss has been simulated and that I have 10 simulation attempts remaining. A buzzing fills my ears, and I open my eyes inside the familiar prison van. This time I'm wearing a sturdy white male around 30 years old, broad-shouldered and full of an aggressive sense of physical power. Besides the driver, there are 3 D-class personnel teammates and 4 supervisory personnel sharing the van with me. We're on a rural road. No buildings, no pedestrians, just empty fields stretching past the windows. 10 minutes later, the van pulls up outside a factory, and we file out. One at a time, the supervisors falling into formation around us with their guns raised. The captain stands in front of us with that same easy smile and tells us that last night an organization research institute in the suburbs suddenly lost contact, and that he needs us to go in and check the situation. We are all elite D-class personnel who have survived at least one mission, he says, so he believes we won't disappoint him. Of course he is not a devil. The organization will provide us with basic weapon support, and he hopes we can come back alive again. Any questions, he asks. The D-class named Hans speaks first, asking what the research institute studies, and the captain pleasantly answers that it studies mutated creatures. The D-class named Neil, watching the captain's face for any flicker, asks what weapons we can bring in, and the captain just as pleasantly answers handguns and plenty of ammunition, gesturing for a supervisor to bring over a weapon box stuffed with K1 pistols and loaded magazines. The 3rd D-class snaps that the captain must be joking, that they want us to use handguns against mutated creatures, and the gunshot cracks before I even register the captain moving. The headless body collapses next to me. I hadn't seen the draw at all. It was as if the universe had quietly cut a few frames out of time. Any more questions, the captain asks, still smiling. I raise my hand. He tells me to speak. I ask whether I can have a bladed cold weapon, preferably one of good quality. The captain looks at me strangely, as if he hadn't expected such a request, and then says I want to engage mutated creatures in close combat. Very good. The organization needs talent like me, and orders the supervisor to give me that experimental weapon and test out the new weapon at the same time. I thank him politely and the supervisor hands me a long blade. The research institute is underground, 50 meters down, and we ride the elevator in full kit. Me with 2 handguns, 10 spare magazines, and the experimental long blade. Hans and Neil with their own pistols. I would have preferred more magazines, but with only 30 in the box and 3 of us, I'm honestly lucky the 3rd D-class died. Otherwise I wouldn't even have 10. The elevator hums downward, and then a hard knocking starts from outside the doors. Thump, 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 even though we're still descending and there's nothing on the other side of the doors. The knocking spreads until it's coming from every wall of the elevator, every angle. Hundreds of fists hammering on metal that is moving through empty shaft. Hans nervously grips his pistol and asks what we should do, his voice cracking. Neil mutters that he is the brains of the operation and doesn't usually handle the fighting. I tell them both to relax, that they're just some mutated creatures, that you hit their abnormal parts and those are their weak points. Although some mutated creatures have more than one abnormal part and that takes a little experience. Of the three of us, I'm easily the most relaxed. I still have 10 simulation attempts, I'm facing familiar mutated creatures, and I have 10 magazines in my pockets. This is much simpler than my last 2 simulations. Right on cue, this is supposed to be my lucky moment and I have never fought a battle with this much ammunition before. Neil asks curiously if I have ever fought mutated creatures before. I don't know what Triss's history actually contains, so I just say it is a story from the past, ambiguous enough not to commit. I'm not going to hide my familiarity with these things. We are about to engage them, and pretending otherwise would only attract suspicion. I draw the experimental long blade and feel its weight. The shape is similar to the red blade in my shelter, but it is heavier, and full-strength swings would tire me out fast. The knocking dies the moment the elevator stops, and the doors slide open onto a long, narrow metal corridor. I glance at the gap between car and floor, half expecting something to be hiding there, but there is nothing. The corridor is covered in bloodstains, and yet there are no corpses. Not a finger, not a hank of hair. I'm the first to step out, and the silence is unnatural. Only our footsteps. Nothing comes out of any side door until the very end of the corridor, where I use the high-authority keycard from the supervisor to unlock the door into the laboratory hall. The underground research facility has a complex structure, and without a map we have to rely on the captain's voice in our earpieces. He tells us to go to the experimental area on B7 and retrieve the research data, and that the elevator is unsafe so we should use the emergency exit. We follow his directions through a long detour, pass several security checkpoints, and finally open the emergency door. As the three of us descend the stairs, I wonder vaguely whether there really needs to be such an emergency exit. I don't know enough about other research facilities to compare. Eventually we reach B7, and inside the corridors branch out like tree limbs, laboratories lining both sides behind glass windows. Everything visible behind that glass is in disarray, like a storm has swept through, but the security checkpoints themselves haven't failed, which is the first detail that does not sit right with me. We pass a final corridor with no laboratories, only checkpoints, and reach the target lab. There is no research equipment inside, only some laptops and a cold storage unit for important specimens, and crouched among them is a living female researcher. She is the first survivor we have seen since we entered, although it is also possible she isn't really alive in the conventional sense. I wait for the captain's instructions before going in, because the captain should know who she is. Sure enough, his voice comes through brightly, telling us that Dr. Caroline is still alive, and ordering number 1 to give her his helmet. Hans quickly removes his and knocks on the glass, telling her loudly that the captain wants him to give her his helmet. She looks at us cautiously, like a frightened squirrel, then whispers urgently to be quiet because it will hear us, and only after a hesitation does she crack the door, take the helmet and lock the door again before scurrying behind the desk. Hans, no longer wearing his helmet, mutters that surely we aren't going to have to take her out. What a hassle, apparently forgetting that Neil and I are still on a live channel. After a while she begins working a computer, finally pulling something resembling a USB drive, and then she takes specimens from the cold storage unit and packs them carefully into her backpack. The captain begins to give us a new order. Bring doctor, here, but the communication is intermittent and then completely silent. We have lost contact with the surface 100 meters underground. The lights cut out, plunging the entire facility into blackness, and then snap back on with the reduced brightness of backup power. A faint tremor rolls through the floor, like the muffled sound of hundreds or thousands of people running through corridors somewhere distant. Hans starts asking what is going on. What was that sound? What did the captain say? But I can tell from his face that he already knows. He just doesn't want to say it out loud. I take off my helmet, throw it on the floor, push the lab door open, and grab the trembling Dr. Caroline out from under her desk. I tell her calmly that a large group of mutated creatures is on its way, that we don't have a map of the facility and we need her to lead us out, that we will guarantee her safety. I tell her she can also choose to go back under the table, if she prefers, although to spare her the suffering later I'll help end it for her right now. As I say it, I draw my pistol and rest the muzzle against her forehead, and wait. Live in pain or die quickly, that is the question. She trembles and grabs my wrist. She is terrified, scared all the way to the bone, but she does not want to die. She is in her 20s, with so many things she still wants to research and try. I lift her by the collar, look into her eyes, and ask if she has decided. The footsteps are getting closer. The nearest mutated creatures are only a few corridors away. She finds her voice and says to follow her. That will leave through the ventilation system. She has made up her mind. Rather than wait to die, fight for life. Under her direction, I get the lab's vent open. The 4 of us climb in, one after another. Me first, then Caroline, then Hans, with Neil bringing up the rear. As Neil pulls his legs in behind him, a swarm of alien corpses smashes into the lab below, the security door no match for that kind of force once the power has been disrupted. Caroline is intimately familiar with the facility structure and quickly points us toward the next lab, telling us the ventilation is segmented so we can't go all the way through it, but we can use it to bridge from one lab to the next. Behind us, I hear Neil shouting urgently that something is climbing up after us. I climb fast, follow her turns, and drop down into another laboratory. The instant Neil hits the floor, a blood corpse drops out of the vent after him, and I stab its mutation organ before it can rise. Then more blood courses fall, like dumplings being dropped into a pot. I tell them to go ahead, that I'll cover the rear, holster the long blade, draw both pistols, and retreat backwards while firing. Each bullet finds a mutation organ. The K1 lives up to its description. Excellent quality, immense power, one shot to the right place is enough. The recoil sits inside what I can manage, and the reload is simple. If we had more than 30 magazines, I think I could clear the entire facility myself. I clear out the vent corpses just in time to hear gunfire from up ahead, where the team has run into more of them. Hans is shouting that there are too many monsters. Monsters everywhere that we can't break through. I tell him then we won't, that we'll find a place to kill all these monsters, that I'll do the killing and they can help me reload. And as I say it, I push his finger off the trigger, because the idiot isn't even aiming at vital points, just spraying bullets. Caroline leads us into a lab with its own internal cells, and we lock ourselves into one of those cells and start dealing with the monsters that followed us. Bang, bang, bang. Almost every shot drops a blood corpse. Strangely, the blood cores here are weak, as if something has filtered them. Hans and Neil load magazines for me while I shoot through the bars. The blood cores crash into the cell fence. The fence buckles and warps, but the organization's hardware is good enough to hold for a while. Although the immediate danger looks under control, I get more uneasy with every kill, because everything about this place is wrong. The first floor was covered in blood and yet had no corpses. The access control is intact, and yet the labs are wrecked. Only Dr. Caroline survived, and she does not look like someone who could have survived that chaos. The captain lost contact the very moment after she finished talking to him. A large number of pre-screened mutated creatures are coming at us from somewhere they shouldn't be. There are problems everywhere, but as a trap it has too many flaws. It is as if someone wants to achieve a specific goal and his mind is not quite right. When Hans calls out that the magazines are almost empty, I stop shooting, holster, draw the long blade, and start stabbing blood cores one by one through the bars. Neil complains that I'm too slow, that we should keep shooting. I tell him calmly the cell will hold and the mutated creatures are almost gone, that I want to save bullets for later. While I cut, I also practice. I have never used a blade much, only kitchen knives, and cutting moving things is nothing like cutting stationary ones. Fortunately, a previous D class I simulated had some experience with cold weapons, so I'm not starting from zero, although my proficiency is still poor compared to my pistol. Cutting through a body is more physical than I expected, especially when the blade hits bone and the recoil presses hard into my tiger's mouth, leaving half my palm numb. After a dozen more, I noticed the wave of corpses thinning, exactly as I had hoped. Once we stopped pulling them in with gunshots, the tide began to break. I hand the long blade to Neil and tell him the rest are on him, then sit down in a corner with my pistols reloaded, taking the remaining magazines for myself. If I have guessed correctly, something else is about to come looking for us. Caroline, who is after all only a researcher, asks if we are going to leave now. She vaguely senses that something is wrong, but she has not let herself think it through. Hans and Neil, both abnormal incident survivors, are already starting to. I tell her I don't think we can take her out, and then I ask her, since she said before that it would hear us, what it is. The elevator wasn't destroyed because they couldn't. It wasn't destroyed because they need it intact. They want a clean way out for themselves and to keep our captain from dropping down on top of them. The knocking inside the descending car was a warning aimed at the captain, not a threat aimed at us. The captain is strong, but if the elevator is dropped, he becomes a body buried 50 meters down. The other side hasn't killed Caroline. They aren't willing to wreck the elevator. They don't want the captain coming down, and they aren't killing us either, only depleting our bullets. It isn't hard to guess what they want. Caroline looks at me a long moment and then says it is the core secret of this research institute, an important project of the organization, and asks if I'm sure I want to know. I tell her this concerns whether we leave alive. We are already D-class personnel. How much worse could it get? Are we going to become the organization's only E-class personnel? She tells me the institute mainly studies biological mutation, and that it is the institute's main research result. The individual with the highest adaptability to the human evolution spectrum, and the only one that hadn't lost control. From the look of things, she adds dryly, it has lost control by now anyway, and she sounds disappointed that the experiment failed, because if it had succeeded, humanity might have had a power to resist this void, unknown and crazy world. I ask how we deal with it. She tells me that although it is still very weak now, only relatively, it has devoured every living being in this institute and finished its preliminary mutation. Even the captain of that special squad outside might not be its match, and I should run quickly because its target should be her. Leaving her, I tell her, is just asking to die. It hasn't attacked her yet, which is exactly why we are still alive. And after all we have learned, it is not going to let us walk out either. If we leave her behind, I doubt we last 5 minutes before the mutated creatures overwhelm us. Then a strong tremor rolls through the floor, like an earthquake right beneath our feet. I stand up, sheathe the long blade, scoop Caroline up under one arm, and start running. This is the moment I have been waiting for. The captain must be fighting that ghost-like thing below, and however long he can hold, this is our only window. 2 steps out the door I stop, because a red-haired Caroline is staring at us from the corridor. Staring more precisely at me. I draw and fire 3 shots without hesitation. The bullets stop in the air, hovering between me and her, suspended by an unseen force. I do not know what to do for a moment. Caroline was right. This is power that isn't on the same axis as ours, not for someone with my half-finished blade skills. For an instant, the thought drifts in. Should I restart? But this thing is so strong that even if I restart, I can't beat it. Then I catch myself. How can I give up that easily? Is it because I have too many simulation attempts? I think I can restart this time. But what about next time? And the time after that? And the time after 10 times? Hans whispers beside me that we should surrender, that he can stop bullets. We can't win it all. The shock of his voice snaps me fully awake. I look at the red-haired Caroline, who has crept a little closer, and I smile and tell her, so that's how it is. What is there to be afraid of? I'm not afraid of an opponent who plays dirty tricks. I am only afraid of an opponent who is a stat monster, and that one would be unwinnable. What did you say? The red-haired Caroline asks for the first time, her voice carrying an unusual murky quality, and I tell her she should have just acted directly. If it had, I might not have reacted in time, but it is used to manipulating with words and ability, and it has forgotten its most direct, fastest, most primitive, and most effective tool, which is violence. Without hesitation, I draw both pistols and aim them, not at the red-haired thing, but at Dr. Caroline. It is only then that its expression changes for the first time. I empty both clips into Caroline without holding back. The bullets stop in the air in front of her and the casings clink to the floor. But from the way she struggles to hold them, I can see the strain. I reload at speed, point 1 pistol at the red-haired Caroline and 1 at Dr. Caroline, and fire both at once. This time the bullets don't stop. They only deflect at angles, grazing past their sides. I empty everything I have, and then without any pause I draw the long blade and charge the red-haired Caroline. There is no probing, no negotiation, no hesitation, only an all-out fight. It is either you die or I die. The red-haired Caroline begins to retreat. Its abandoned main body has nearly been finished off by the captain, and it does not have time, but it also does not have the courage to fight me head-on. From the moment of its birth, it has always been the one in control, never forced into a direct fight with these lower beings. Stopping bullets just now consumed a large amount of spiritual power and mental power. It still has the strength to fight, but it no longer has guaranteed victory, although given a little more time it would be able to crush these annoying lower beings like bugs. I chase like a madman, slashing wildly, each strike repelled by an invisible barrier, and yet I only swing faster. After more than a dozen swings, I'm at the edge of exhaustion, holding myself up purely on willpower and stubbornness, and I will not last more than a few more seconds. I'm only an ordinary human. In a war of attrition, I cannot beat a monster. The red-haired Caroline notices, and a triumphant smile touches its mouth. Then gunfire. Hans and Neil appear on either side of me, firing the last bullets in their guns. They don't have the courage to fight the monster, but they will not give up their chance to live. While the red-haired Caroline blocks bullets, I sheath the blade and brace, take a deep breath, and put everything I have into one last strike. Die, I roar, and the blade slows under the invisible pressure, but, as if hearing me, a scorching heat explodes from the hilt and rushes out along the edge, neutralizing the energy barrier in front of it. I cut its head clean off in a single swing. Damn it, it's voice activated. I shout, you damn well should have told me. This is the first time I have actually gotten angry inside a simulation. I really want to kill that abnormal captain, but unfortunately I cannot beat him. How does anyone test an experimental weapon without explaining how it activates? I throw the long blade so it pins the red-haired Caroline's heart, draw both pistols, and finish blowing what is left of the head apart. Bang, 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 bang. I have only emptied magazines, not chambers, so I have a few bullets in reserve. After all that, I step forward, retrieve the long blade, and hack the body to pieces, because I have only just one and I do not want to die from leaving it half-finished. I walk back to Dr. Caroline and ask if it is dead. She answers honestly that she doesn't know. If its main body was eliminated by the captain and it didn't separate any other instances, it should be. Then it isn't dead, I say, because I don't believe the other side has no fallback. As long as it doesn't come out and interfere with the rest of the mission, I won't bother eradicating it, which is the organization's job. In a facility this large, I couldn't possibly do it alone. Anyway, not long after, the captain finds us with a few supervisors. He inspects the body I have hacked apart, examines it carefully, and only when he can't tell anything more does he order it collected. He tells us we did very well, even better than expected, as expected of elite D-class personnel, and that we can return now and look forward to our next mission. Then he turns to me with that pleased expression and asks how the experimental weapon was. Was it easy to use? I am still angry, otherwise I would not say a word. I tell him he should have told me it was voice activated, that I rarely speak when cutting people normally, that if it weren't for good luck we would all have died here. Voice activated, he asks his supervisor sharply. What are you talking about? Is the experimental weapon voice activated? The supervisor says, almost embarrassed, that they were just experimenting with how to activate the power of this weapon, so it turns out to be voice activated. He records the new information on a handheld and thanks me for my contribution to the organization. I should not have said anything, I think, walking at the front with no expression on my face. A familiar prompt closes around me. Simulation ended. Remaining simulation attempts. Do you wish to obtain the core item? Obtain, I say. Obtain core item. Human Evolution Atlas 1. Obtained. Dr. Caroline's Gift 1. Obtain title. All in. I sit at the edge of the bed staring at the data on the laptop that has appeared in the shelter. This is the first time I have completed a simulation without consuming any attempts. I had not expected that consuming all 10 would let me obtain a core item. The Human Evolution Atlas, the description tells me, is the organization's latest research achievement, intended to control biological evolution but apparently incomplete, with a note that it can be exchanged for mutation card number 0. The Atlas is a laptop full of data. I open it and stare at the screen for a long time, but I cannot make sense of any of it. It is all incomprehensible terms and symbols without annotation. Mutation card number 0, I think. What is that? Aren't we supposed to be collecting numbers 1 through 10? I do not rush to redeem. I spend another hour staring at the laptop, and only after I am sure I really do not understand anything do I choose to redeem. The number 0 mutation card slides into my hand, with a description telling me it is a special mutation card and a note about collecting 1 through 10 for a special surprise. I had assumed the system would give me a hint. I should not have rushed the redemption. I find myself missing the puzzle games that came with my old laptop. I just played one for over 50 minutes and it was actually quite fun. I open the next system notification. Dr. Caroline's gratitude gift, says the panel. This is Dr. Caroline's heartfelt thanks to her savior. Please use it properly, with a note that as a young woman she deliberated for a long time before choosing this gift. The gift is a long box the size of a shoebox sitting in the middle of my shelter. I pull the intricate pink ribbon, lift the lid, and inside is a very exquisite silver pistol. Although for a pistol the barrel is long enough that it almost approaches the size of a short submachine gun. The CL-0 psionic pistol, the description reads, a new energy weapon co-produced by Dr. Caroline. After being filled with flesh and blood, the pistol will automatically absorb psionic mutation bullets from the surrounding environment, with a note that Mom no longer has to worry about me running out of bullets. I am very satisfied. The CL-0's magazine is a flesh and blood extractor. Placed on a corpse, it will draw the corpse's flesh and blood essence into the weapon. On the gun stock, there is also a detachable structure containing a translucent crystal. A Tier 1 psionic crystal can provide psionic energy for equipment, with a note that energy is the real hard currency. Damn it, I mutter. No bullets needed, but psionic crystals are. Somehow that feels even more expensive. Good thing I have the Tier 1 psionic crystal manufacturing blueprint. I play with the pistol for a moment and then open the last notification. All in is an art. Even the most fanatical gamblers would be astonished by your recklessness and courage. Struggle to your heart's content before despair arrives, with a note asking whether I think it is joking with me. If this hadn't been a simulation, would I really have shot Caroline? Looking at the title, I cannot help wondering. I eat half an energy bar, pour some hot water on the abyssal egg, as I have started to do every day, and then go back to the assembled humanoid mural and continue studying. This time I intermittently put on the cross necklace, both to enhance perception and to acclimate to the extraordinary senses it gives me. I also try wearing the psionic ring, but there is no psionic energy inside the shelter. That is probably because of the absolute safety attribute. Psionic energy can cause mutation after all, and prolonged exposure to a psionic-rich environment is probably not a good thing. When you focus on a single thing, time slips quickly, and almost without warning it is night again. A great many newcomers in the chat group have decided to participate in tonight's activity, because only for the first 3 days does opening a box guarantee a shelter upgrade blueprint. No one knows the probability after that. And as long as you are still a normal human who does not want to die, you cannot afford to skip this last sure shot. As I'm thinking it through, the radio on the bedside abruptly bursts into cheerful music. Welcome to City Voice Radio, says a chirpy voice. We are now broadcasting a prize quiz. And I am your favorite announcer, Miss Y. Mr. Lynn from apartment 304 in the Doomsday apartment. Guess what tonight's night activity will be? A. Maze exploration. B. Carnival feast. C. Warfront line. D. Station mission. No way, I think, with a deep sense of malice from the system. I had not expected the task to change on the third day. This is a selection question. Those who chose to participate on the first day are the brave ones, who took risks, advanced quickly, and gained their deserved rewards. Those who chose the second day are the wise ones, who got safe and stable opportunities. Those who choose on the third day are the weak ones, who can only make a desperate final attempt. If they don't, they will most likely die, and no one should get a fourth chance. I have a strong premonition that after these 3 days, shelter upgrade blueprints will become extremely difficult to obtain, and tonight will be the last guaranteed window. I choose D, I say. 4 is my lucky number. Correct answer, the announcer chirps. The prize has been sent. Please check. I open the chat and post. I just got news that today's night activity will change to a station mission. And after today, shelter upgrade blueprints will be extremely difficult to obtain. Don't ask me what a station mission is, I don't know either. I don't actually know if the guess is right, but I decide to stake my reputation on this one. I could have hedged, but I don't like compromise. All or nothing, no third option. Ah, boss, you can't joke like that, someone writes. No way. I've been preparing for 2 days to explore the maze, and I even got a red key. Whether it's a joke or not, says another, we'll know soon. The boss has never given false information. Then aren't we screwed? I haven't even killed a chicken and I was just waiting to find a locked room and quietly open a chest. So exciting, says someone else. I've long found maze exploration boring. Looking for nutrient fluid and mutation cards. Price negotiable, says a third. The system notification hasn't come out yet. Aren't you afraid of being tricked? Is the boss so idle as to trick you? It'll be too late when the system notification comes out. The prize for the quiz turns out to be a key. Universal key. Can be used to open certain doors. 1 out of 1, with a note saying it isn't that universal. My private messages are overflowing. I reply to a few friends and then start packing. Night activity starts. Tonight's activity, station mission. Join. Yes. The countdown reads 9:59, then 001, then 000, and the chat erupts with terror just before the world goes dark. When I open my eyes, I'm sitting in the back row of a bus. None of the equipment in my pack or on my person is missing. There are scattered passengers and a driver. 12 people besides the driver by my count. The bus is traveling on a highway, dense forest crowding the shoulders. A new interface pops in my vision, looking for all the world like a chat room from a certain messaging app. There are 4 people in the chat room. One of them sends a message. Hello everyone, do you know what's going on? Each speaker has an avatar in front of their name, and I quickly find each face among the passengers on the bus. The first speaker is sitting diagonally in front of me, a slender young girl in a Chinese-style school uniform. She is quite young, with skin so pale it is almost translucent and black medium-length hair, with the cute appearance and serious expression of a small animal. Her name is Li Ji. The next is a robust elderly man, sitting by the left window in the second row, Zhao Yong, over 60 but very energetic, with sharp lines under graying hair. Then a middle-aged woman in the back, Xu Min, the only one of the 4 with obvious mutation features. It looks like at least her limbs are aliened. You don't know me, I write, so we must not be from the same area. Can you tell me about the situation in your area? Zhao Yong responds with a kind of disbelief. Huh, you mean everyone in your entire area knows you? That's impossible, right? An area has 1 million people, young man. Do you understand what 1 million people means? I tell him I've been sending strategy information to everyone since day 1, that as long as he checks the chat group he couldn't possibly have not seen my name. So we definitely aren't from the same area, and that when our night activity started our area still had 992,341 people. His couldn't possibly match. He says, impossible. We've already lost over 100,000 people, how could you have lost so few? Because of me, I write. He goes quiet. We compare numbers and confirm that we're each from different regions, that each region started with 1 million people, that the night tasks for the first 2 days were maze exploration, and tonight has shifted to station mission. Xu Min asks if any of us have seen a girl named Li Xiaolu, her daughter. I tell her no. Zhao Yong says he can't remember. Li Ji says there seemed to be someone similar, but she can't be sure. There are too many people named Li. The system pings into the chat. Please choose any site to get off. Survive at that site until tomorrow's bus arrives. Then board the bus and leave the site. With a note that after 10 sites, the bus will enter the shallow sea area. So this is the station mission, Li Ji writes. Says Zhao Yong. The choice of site is very important. The hint doesn't say we have to all pick the same site, Xu Min points out. You're not thinking of going adventuring alone, says Li Ji. The situation is unknown. It's safer if we stick together. No, Xu Min answers. I was just pointing out the option. Let's pick one, I write. I suggest we decide before the 9th site at the latest. Of course, says Zhao Yong. Since the system mentioned the shallow sea area, it is different from the previous sites. Best not to get close. The first site arrives almost immediately. A dark green swamp full of wetland plants. Dark green fog floating in its depths. Xu Min vetoes. Li Ji agrees. I agree. Zhao Yong relents and we move on. 10 minutes later, the second site is an unusually clean beach. Fine white sand spread like snow on the shore. Hot and desolate. Li Ji says 10 minutes from a swamp to a beach. This road and this bus are not right. Xu Min agrees that there is something wrong with the bus, that the driver and other passengers look human but have no human aura, as though something else is wearing skin. We pass. The third site is the entrance to a sunny small town, friendly townspeople smiling inside. Zhao Yong likes it. Li Ji and I do not. Xu Min says their smiles are too fake, like mannequins. We pass. The fourth site is a void, one side of the platform empty, with nothing there at all. We all pass. The fifth site is shrouded in a thick mist. We all pass. The sixth site is a giant jungle with a plant in the distance that reaches into the sky, its top out of sight. Li Ji says it feels very dangerous. I agree. Xu Min suggests the next one. Zhao Yong notes only 4 sites are left and maybe we should pick one that is bad but not that bad. Li Ji says she has a feeling the next site won't be too terrible. The 7th site is a ruin with a faint mist drifting through it, and at its edge I see familiar blood chorus. Far away, in the center of the ruin, there is a huge slow wriggling shadow, over a dozen stories tall, the wriggling rhythm like a creature breathing. Let's go with this one, I write. Actually, I'm quite confident in my understanding of blood courses. Li Ji agrees. Shu Min seconds. Ruins are good for hiding. Our goal is just to survive until tomorrow's bus arrives. Zhao Yang agrees. At least he knows how to kill them. Then let's get off, I write. The 4 of us file out in order. The driver and the other passengers do not react at all. Just as I'm starting to think they're all NPCs, the passenger nearest the door turns his head and gives us a meaningful smile. I happen to look back and meet his gaze. Goodbye, he says, and have a pleasant journey. Goodbye, I reply, and you too have a pleasant journey. Then I leave the site with the others. As soon as we're off the bus, several new tasks pop into the chat room. Site selection complete. Additional tasks acquired. Optional. 1. Kill mutated creatures. Rewards based on number and strength. 2. Explore the ruins and investigate the reason for the city's abandonment. 3. Deal with the giant mutated creature in the center of the ruins. I directly ignore the 3rd. I do not want to go anywhere near that huge shadow. Should we go in? Asks Zhao Yong, walking at the front, his sturdy frame like a wall. Or should we look elsewhere? It's best not to, says Shu Min, keeping a careful safe distance from the rest of us. This road is one that takes only 10 minutes between very different places. Before we completely understand this area, we shouldn't wander. Indeed, I say, if we follow the system's prompts, we can still take the bus back. If we wander aimlessly, we may never return. I have already put on the cross necklace and the psionic ring while we were choosing the site. Through my own previous attempts, I found that as long as I don't trigger the deeper inspiration I felt while killing monsters, wearing the cross necklace for a long stretch doesn't have much impact. The psionic ring's effect is excellent. With the cross necklace's perception assisting, I can clearly feel the surrounding psionic energy continuously entering my body and strengthening it. As soon as I step into the ruins, I feel a sense of oppression, as if some kind of force is pressing down on me, making my steps a few points heavier. What do we do? Asks Zhao Yong, picking up a piece of rebar with a chunk of concrete still attached. Find a place on the outskirts to hide until morning. First collect supplies, says Shu Min. See if there are any usable weapons. The prompt says survive until tomorrow, which means something will probably change at night. I suggest we split up before sunset and explore as much as possible. I say contacting through the chat if anything happens. That's our advantage. If they'd been an ordinary group, I wouldn't have made the suggestion, but these 3 seem reliable. Okay, I'll go east, says Li Ji. Then I'll go west, says Shu Min. I'll check the center, says Zhao Yong, predictably overbearing. Then I'll just wander, I write, looking out at the giant shadow in the distant mist with an uneasy premonition. Find me if you need anything. The ruins are full of mutated creatures. Relying on perception, I avoid the heavier ones and pick through abandoned buildings for usable supplies, using blood cores to load my CL0 along the way. Following the city's obvious commercial layout, I quickly find a gun store on the main street. The street is crowded with blood cores, mixed with mutated creatures that have already developed mutation organs, with no large obstructions to break sight, so making any noise here would draw them all. I have only the red blade and the not yet finished CL0. I cannot deal with so many at once. I will have to take another route. Avoiding the narrow alleys would have been preferable. The corner monsters and unstable structures would both be deadly, but I choose a relatively wide alley anyway and walk in slowly, red blade in hand. I used to play a game where the protagonist had a probability of dying on a climbing skill. Thankfully, I do not have that fatal passive in this body. There aren't many mutated creatures hidden in this alley, and they aren't very strong. The stronger ones must already be out claiming territory. I deal with the blood corpus with the red blade, and with each kill the psionic ring continues its quiet absorption, my body steadily improving. As long as the red blade reaches the right place, an ordinary blood corpse does not require a second strike, and I learn cleaner technique with every kill. After cutting down an alien wild dog at the back door, I finally enter the gun store. The store itself is silent. The racks have been emptied. Bloodstains and shell casings cover the floor. I find the warehouse door ajar with a monster behind it ready to strike. We are separated only by a panel, and it clearly knows my location. Having already prepared its attack, I sense it too. Only one mutation organ, but unusually active, more active than even the previous monster with several organs. I draw the CL0, the bullets not yet fully alien but already usable, and aim through the door, but before I can fire it explodes into motion. Stillness and explosion in an instant. The door shatters and the monster appears in front of me. A goat's head, a human body, animal limbs of varying lengths, and a long, thick tail, a creature pieced together from various biological parts. I move a step left, narrowly escaping being crushed into pulp. The goat-head monster slams into the wall and the whole gun store shudders, the wall cracking. I empty 5 rounds into its back from behind, all 5 hitting the chest cavity where I can sense its mutation organ, but the wounds are negligible. The bullets aren't fully aliened yet, and the psionic energy inside the monster catches them in its muscles. They cannot punch through. I create distance, but the gun store is small and the entrance is on the monster's side, leaving me very little room to maneuver. The goat head turns. It is slightly shorter than I am, layered with thick muscle fiber, full of energy, the mutation organ in its chest pumping power into its body. I empty another 5 into the organ, not because I think it will work, but to suppress it. It blocks the bullets with its forelimbs. My eyes light up. If I can break the defense, I have a chance. 2 quick shots and my wrist twitches, blowing out both eyes. The goat head screams piercingly, covers the chest with its forelimbs, and charges. Even without eyes, its perception is enough to know my approximate position, although nothing like its lost vision. I sense the subtle connection between the mutation organ and the monster's limbs, moving in advance to dodge the charge. Seeing the charge fail, the goat head accelerates and starts swinging its forelimbs. My attention is entirely on it. My body has improved, but I cannot match a creature that has no concern for consequences. 1 lapse and I die here. I cannot afford to waste a reality simulation attempt in a place like this. I'm forced into a corner with no more retreat. The goat head bares its teeth and prepares for one last charge. I fire 3 shots into its head, all 3 hitting the eye sockets, and it does not even pause. Its goat head must just be ornamental. It does not need a brain to think. Although I'd accounted for this, it is still annoying. Now, I will have to fight with my life. Just like every simulation, I have 3 bullets in the CL0. I keep the gun in my left and draw the red blade in my right. Bang bang bang, 2 elbow joints in the left knee. The shots do almost no damage, but they disrupt its charging stance. Even something that does not need a brain still falls if its joints fail. Perhaps later it would not, but not this time. I gather the meager energy in my body into my right hand. I have been absorbing for so long, and sensing the goat head's energy flow for so long, that I have a basic feel for energy manipulation. Not skilled, but enough to concentrate. My right hand suddenly accelerates. The red blade pierces between the goat head's forelimbs, drives clean through its chest, and the mutation organ comes out clenched in my palm. The body slams into the wall to my right, leaving cracks. I shake the spent corpse off and casually drop the organ into my pack. Footsteps multiply outside, and something starts hammering the front door. The goat head's collapse made too much noise, and a crowd of mutated creatures is converging on the gun store. I rush into the warehouse, and the moment I am inside, I stop. Take a deep breath and let the smell of gunpowder fill me. Ah, a warehouse full of firearms. Handguns, submachine guns, shotguns, rifles, light machine guns, sniper rifles, all racked with crates of ammunition stacked in the corner. I have to admit I'm a little excited. I begin loading the weapons. I have been fed up with 10 bullets for a long time. If possible, I'd take all of these home, and as for the monsters outside, let them talk to the bullets. I send a message to the team while I work. Got a batch of firearms. I'll use a cart to transport them later. Have you found a safe house yet? By now the gun store is piled with corpses, a large woven sack heavy with mutation organs. The crystals already removed and tucked into my pack. While processing the bodies, I have developed something like the rhythm of a fishmonger at a hypermarket. With perception guiding the dagger, I can flick the crystals out with a gentle motion. Shu Min replies, I found a relatively intact supermarket. Remote. Still has some basic supplies. We can meet here. Li Ji says she got some special things. She'll bring them back later. Zhao Yong says there are many mutated creatures in the center of the ruins. He dealt with a few. I find a flatbed cart, pile the spoils on, and pull it to the supermarket. It is in the northwest corner. 2 stories, about 500 square meters. Very remote. Almost no blood cores nearby. I'm the last to arrive. Finding the cart costs time. Zhao Yong is delighted with the firearms, picking up a light machine gun and stroking the surface with adoration, telling me he thought I would prefer cold weapons. When I was young, I did like to wield swords and spears, he says. But no matter how much you train, it is not as effective as a gun. As you young people say, a gun is fast beyond 7 steps, and both fast and accurate within 7. He loads an ammo belt with practiced ease and aims at a distant blood corpse. The upper body is obliterated. This is the violence of firearms, I think. The crystallization of human technology. Regardless of morality, it has its own beauty. Shu Min has chosen a few handguns and is teaching herself with a quick eye. I head deeper in and find Li Ji squatting in the corner of the supermarket, staring blankly at several blood-red ovoid egg-like objects, each only a little shorter than her squatted height. I unconsciously step back. I love classic horror movies and I can even recite some of their lines. Could this be... Is this? It's not an alien egg, says Shu Min from a desk where another egg sits cut open. Although it does look very similar. I just cut one open and inside is a larva of some kind of creature. But it isn't an insect. It has plant characteristics and animal characteristics. I don't know what it is either. The internal physiological structure of the red egg is unusually chaotic. If you ask me, says Zhao Yong, fiddling with the machine gun and edging warily away from the corner, we should just blow them all up and throw them out. In movies, those who research this kind of stuff never come to a good end. Good thing little brother Lin brought back so many weapons. We can use them as targets for practice. We need to figure out what we are going to face. I say, know yourself and your enemy. I bring a fresh egg over to a freezer, set it on top, and start dissecting. Schumann was right about the chaos of the structure. Plant and animal matter mixed together, yet combined remarkably well, as if they were meant to. When I compare it to her dissected egg, the structures are completely different, like two different creatures. Are we just going to wait here until morning? Asks Zhao Yong, idly handling the machine gun while the sky outside the window darkens. I don't think we can safely stay here until tomorrow, says Schumann, watching the changes outside. I agree. I say, don't you think our team is too strong? Your innate abilities shouldn't be weak. I'm fully kitted up now, and I have placed weapons in easily accessible places throughout the room. Indeed, says Zhao Yong. I'm considered to be doing quite well on our side. I already know some martial arts, and with my talent ability related to physical enhancement, my combat power should be decent among all survivors. My talent ability is related to mutation, says Schumann modestly. If there were a combat power ranking, I should be quite high in the entire area. Says Li Ji. Compared to you two, I'm not very good at fighting, and I don't know how to use firearms. My talent ability is related to luck. I can see where it's safer. She does not really like her ability. She used to have terrible luck working desperately for goals and gaining nothing. After the talent, everything reversed, and she could pick up supplies others died to find without any risk. The contrast leaves her a bit lost and guilty. The ability is somewhat ironic to her. Oh, says Schumann, then where is it safer now that talent's fascinating? If luck can be quantified, it's also a science. Li Ji glances at me in embarrassment, and says it will be very safe next to Mr. Lin, that if she leaves this building, she will die here tonight. She does not say that it would also be relatively safe next to Zhao Yong, but that it would be very easy to die next to Xu Min. You can call me Brother Lin. I tell her everyone in the group calls me that. Your talent is very strong, but don't rely on it too much. Safety is relative. Your own strength is the foundation of everything. For example, if I wanted to kill you right now, you would surely die. I like this polite high school girl. She reminds me of my younger self before a few years in society made me feel like a lifetime had passed. I understand. Thank you, she answers obediently and picks up a handgun to study. My talent ability is a support ability, I add. It lets me exchange for items and information. Not much help in combat, but my combat power is still pretty good. Xu Min is fiddling with a handgun, learning very quickly and proving accurate at close range. Then can you use your talent now to get information, she asks. I'm afraid not, I tell her. I already used it this morning. My ability can only be used once a day. Even if I hadn't used it, I would not dare use my talent ability outside the shelter. So the teams are matched according to strength, asked Zhao Yong, almost eager. And stronger teams get more difficult tasks. It's very likely that way, I say while guiding Li Ji on her grip. And I think the harder the task, the greater the reward. Based on my understanding of the system, this possibility is over 90%. That's really great, says Zhao Yong. Compared to Blue Star, he prefers it here. At least here he won't die in bed. Night completely falls. The supermarket has generator power, and when the lights come on, we are unusually conspicuous in the dim ruins. But the mutated creatures nearby do not come for us. The reason is that the giant shadow in the center of the distant ruins moves, and the entire ruin trembles with it. Large numbers of mutated creatures of every form surge from beneath the shadow's feet. These creatures spread out from the center like a tide, extending across the entire ruin. All living things in the ruin are attacked indiscriminately. The tide will wash everything away and carry the bodies back to the nest. Zhao Yong and I set up machine guns on the second floor and sweep the wave that turns toward us. Xu Min and Li Ji provide cover fire, and mutated creatures pile up in front of the supermarket. But the wave seems endless and our bullets are not. If this offensive lasts any longer, we'll have to engage in close combat with a horde. What should we do? Zhao Yong roars over the gunfire. We can't last much longer like this.